All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We've got ourselves GSL Group C. Starting off with Rogue, the big dog, who's looked pretty good in his few weeks back here. Turns out my sound was disabled. Sorry about that. Cure in the top left side of the map as well. So Cure, of course, plays for Team Liquid. Rogue, oh, did Rogue get picked up by a team, actually? If someone could look that up in Twitch chat. I know Sue already joined DKZ last week for their WTL lineup, which is really good since they lost Dark. They lost their star Zerg to Talon Esports a few months back before Katowice. So it's kind of cool for them to round out their lineup, so it's not just Jaishi, Oliveira, and Hero, two Protosses and a Terran. Felt like the lineup wasn't quite as deep, but with Sue in there, they got a good lineup. Not sure if Rogue's found himself a team yet since coming back, or if like the Africa Freaks is still around or anything like that. But anyways, chat does say he is currently teamless. Well, that's not gonna last for long, is it? That is not gonna last for long. He's gone for a hatchery gas pool up against the 2-Rax Reaper. Now, interesting, this is a very conservative Overlord. He's not scouting for the command center timing, which is odd. Because it could be 3-Rax, but I guess you'd see the Reapers coming out of the 3rd barracks with the Overlord anyway. But Rogue definitely always has his own kind of style of scouting. He's going to go Ling Speed, hide the drone so we can go for that 3rd at some point. And here comes that first Reaper. Let's see if he can find some damage. Command center's down into a second gas behind it for Cure. Cure usually loves to go for Hellion Lib, or sometimes Hellion Banshee after this. Now, I would say Cure recently looks like he cannot keep up in this matchup with the fastest Zergs. You see it to some extent when he's playing other matchups as well, but especially in his ZVT, because it's such a tempo matchup where it's so mechanical, the speed, the to and fro. Hey, defend Banelings here, defend Banelings there. Or likewise, hey, I've got a drop here, a Liberator there, darting in and out. It's a matchup where there's a lot of pulling each other's attention around. And I think it's the matchup where you get to see Cure having that deficit at its most extreme. That being said, Rogue is not the fastest player. He's a good macro player, but he's most of all a mastermind and a strategist. So I feel like maybe Cure can actually do okay against Rogue because he's also a macro and a build order centric player. Those are his strengths. I love these grenades, by the way. If you just keep popping those grenades down, keep bouncing those queens away. And that hatchery is getting very low. Oh my god, he can kill it. Oh, he gets the cancel and slips away from the Lings around. Gets himself 2 Lings as well. Not bad. Now keep in mind, if you build 4 Reapers, that does not put you ahead. Oh, that queen. She gets bounced away, though, which actually helps the queen survive. This queen, though, she's going to die. 10 Lings are out with Ling Speed, though. Rogue keeps his queens alive. He's on 31 workers. I think he's done okay here. 3rd command center's halfway underway. And the real problem with this build is, of course, how slow your follow-up is. Your Hellions are only starting just before the 4-minute mark. But if you keep the Reapers alive, Hellions plus Reapers together are very powerful because the Reapers can inject those combat drugs and regen life outside of combat. So you can kind of skirmish with queens much better than with Hellions alone because you've got so many different Reapers that you can use for tanking. Thank you, Carnage, for the sub. Hope you're doing well, guys. A couple queens gathering at the front. It's going to be 6 queens into a second gas now. Rogue's got to be careful about those supply blocks. If there's one thing I've been very impressed with by Sue, it's the lack of supply blocks. He's so good at not getting supply blocked. But Rogue's cutting it kind of fine here. So far, up 8 to 9 workers. Not a bad start. 3rd CC's finished. Tech Labs. Oh, he's going to go for that Liberator we talked about. So it's Liberator and it's Stim as well. So after the Liberator and those 2 Hellions, you're going to see the Starport and the Factory swap. He'll build 2 Medevacs. So he's got Hellion Liberator pressure, but then he'll also have a double Medevac of Marines. This is a sort of build where if you're in position, you can kind of shut it down because it's 3 very fragile armies, right? Hellion Reaper's not that strong. A Liberator's just a light harassment unit. Double Medevac Marine is going to be the scariest part of this, but the double Medevac Marine is going to hit kind of late. The problem is, if Rogue doesn't build enough Queen Zergling, gets caught out of position by some of it, we can see how it goes. Kind of cool casting this, guys, because I've just played actually a show match little series with Cure and MaxPax and Disrespect, so it's kind of fun getting to see this game that he played. He played this the night before, just last night, about 12, maybe 14 hours ago. For those who do want to watch my cast, you can always watch me cast these live on my Twitch stream the day after, or the morning after the GSL broadcast, usually about 10 to 12 hours after the broadcast is done, sometimes only 8 hours after the broadcast is done. That next morning, I do kind of turn on the stream and cast these games live, and I have not seen the results. I purposely do it this way to keep myself spoiler free. So if you guys tune in live, please don't drop any spoilers. And really appreciate the love. Everyone's been pretty good about that recently. The Rainer week was the worst. Because everyone was so excited to watch Rainer play StarCraft. They're like, oh my god, it's Rainer. We love Rainer. And everyone was like, oh no, I can't believe, you know, everyone was in chat that whole stream being like, man, such a bummer that game 3 where blah, blah, blah happened. Or that game 2 with those two. And I'm like, stop, please. But most streams, it's been pretty nice. I'm normally not that big on spoilers, but this is the exception. When we're casting it within 10 hours, obviously it's on in the middle of the night in America. I'm streaming to a mostly American audience. I figure being a bit more spoiler-friendly makes a lot of sense. I do get some interesting comments. Sometimes people will comment, they'll say, don't spoil the game. Stop spoiling other games in your commentary. And I realize it's like a weekly cup, and I've said, oh, you know, Kua already beat Beyond in the round of 16. And people go, why are you spoiling that? And I go, what's the round of 16 of the ESL North American Weekly Cup? It's like a couple $100 tournament. Are there people who are like, no, I've got to watch the round of 16 of the $400 Weekly Cup. I can't believe you I get when it's a world championship and it's the next day, but sometimes people have some weird expectations, I gotta say. Nice marine drop comes in, takes out a few lings. Still, he's only lost one SCV. This is very clean on the trading so far by Kua. Liberator goes into the main base, but Spore Queen shuts it down. The Hellions and the Reapers are going to trade now. The Banelings could shut this down if they connect. The double drop move back to the south over there. Looks like one Baneling connects, but actually the Hellions and the Reapers trade out not too badly. Looks like they'll even win this trade. If he could get the 4th base, that would be huge. If he focuses it, he can get it, but he goes for the Queens, and that's going to cost him. Does he focus the Banes? Remember, Kua not quite up there on Beyond's level with the focus fire, but that was actually pretty nice. Gets 5 drones, damages the hatchery. This Hellion, 1 or 2 more shots. +1 Carapace saves the day, guys. Normally it only takes 3 Hellion shots to kill a drone. Because they have +1 Carapace, they actually survive the 3rd shot. The regen helps out there as well, of course. 2-2's already on the way for Rogue. +1 armor's just started. Oh no, Kua didn't have the money. He thought he started +1 armor earlier, but he didn't, so it's super late. Ling run by on the 3rd base. Oh, that's going to be nasty. If he can focus the Banes, it'll be okay. He gets, oh my gosh. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, the Ling run by just rips him apart. And that's huge. This is very problematic because those Lings are going to kill the tank and the Marines. Banelings are going to roll in behind this. Notice he pulls the Banes back because he wants to kill the tank, then go in with them. Oh, good save on those SCVs. That was kind of clutch. But 15 workers down is very bad against a 70 drone Zerg who's miles ahead on the upgrades. We just start +2 attack now at 8.5 minutes. And this is kind of what I expected from this ZVT. Kua always makes it look pretty competitive. But the moment there's like a bit of multitasking going on, it just feels like he can't quite keep up with the top Terrans. And I hate to harp on about it, because this is exactly how I feel my Terran versus Zerg goes, where like, I think I'm doing well, and then I just like, I always lose in the multitasking. I'm always looking at the wrong place, and I always feel like Banelings are hitting things when I'm not looking. He did kill a hatchery though, that was actually really nice. Ooh, I like the burrowed Zergling. This is what I call a pervert Zergling, guys, because he's always trying to look up at those units as they walk over the top. No! Oh! Oh, Rogue sets up a delicious bailing trap with the burrowed Zergling. That was so clever because often you're not watching when the units walk over, but by having a burrowed Zergling see the move out, he knew when he had to look at the Banelings to be ready to activate it. That was perfect. Picture perfect. Rogue's going to wrap around. He's got way too many units. He should be able to clear this up. If he can clear this push, he should win the game. One tank goes down. Second tank starts to fall. Doesn't manage to get that last shot off. And of course, the Marines. Oh, he stands his ground way too long and does lose quite a few Marines and medevacs there. Units lost tab is about even, which is terrible when you're playing 3-base Terran against soon-to-be 5-base Zerg. That being said, only 68 workers for Rogue. I mean, Kua can win this game. I feel like the way I talk about him in ZVT is almost a bit exaggerated. We've got to remember, and I've got to remember as the commentator, he looked pretty good in that grand finals versus Rainer at G8 last year. Gamers 8, big $400,000 tournament. The only problem is that he didn't play that clever, I would say. He played a bit too predictable versus Rainer. He just tried, well, not even predictable. He tried to out-multitask Rainer. For anyone who knows, out-multitasking Rainer is like saying you're going to sprint faster than Usain Bolt. It's not a smart idea. If that's your plan to like win or survive in some sort of life or death situation, you're like, it's fine. I'll just I'll just break the world record for sprinting 100 meters or whatever. You know, you're like, eh. But to be fair, getting to that point, he beat a lot of good players, good Zergs included. It was mostly good Protoss players, though. And I feel like Cua's TVT and TVP are exceptional. And I almost would say they're like 800 MMR higher than his TVZ because his macro's good, his build orders are great, and he's good in a slower, more technical kind of calm situation. But in the fast-paced situation is sometimes where he will struggle with the multitasking. There's Marines. They'll do a little bit of damage, bit of distraction. Marine drop on the right, clears some creep. This is the real push, though. This is what is important. Everything else is a distraction. The problem is those other drops have been defended so well. That being said, Stim's on the 4th, gets some good damage. He's got to pull back. Ooh, Marine's trying to pull back. Tanks, there's only 2 of them right now. But Rogue's just going to go for it. He's going to roll over the top. 2-1 against 2-2 upgrades in favor of the Zerg. Baneling's somewhat connecting there. There's only 2 medevacs left. Oh, no, not enough space for everyone. Rogue's just going to overwhelm with massive numbers. He's got good creep in the middle. He's respread his creep in the north. And it looks to me like Rogue has this game under control. Hive almost finished. This is basically just 8 racks, by the way, guys. With, it's not even 8 racks? Yeah, it is. 3 barracks with no add-ons. So, I mean, it's pretty all in. Cure kind of needs to just be doing big damage and ending the game, and he's just not been able to do it. And this little pervert Zergling just sees so much, and they don't know about it. The vision of burrowed Zerglings is actually wild, guys. It's very good. Having that vision for a unit that's almost free, these are the observers of Zerg that we forget to use. It only really works versus Terran because they don't have observers and overseers with their army. They rarely have ravens. But it's actually such a good move that should be used more often. Whoa, lurkers! Lings going in. Let's go, let's go. SCV's running to the low ground. Hello. Marine tank coming in. Oh, there's no wall off. Oh, he gets in the wall, though. Good positioning with the Marines, but I think he's too outnumbered. If those Lings can break through, the Marines are trading. He needs to pull the SCVs as well. Yeah, pulling the SCVs could help out. I think he'll hold. At the same time, he's going to shove on creep, though. That's not going to go well. Oh, no! The Lurker bailing! Actually, pretty good reaction speed from Cure. Saves a lot of those units. He only loses 12 workers. No way. Guys, Rogue overcommitted with those Zerglings. Dude, Cure might be able to do this. The Lurkers, they've got range. They don't have seismic spines, but they do take out those 2 siege tanks. Oh, Baneling's on creep. Baneling's on creep. Oh, God. Oh, God, get out of there. Run, Cure, run. Oh, he doesn't take out the 5th or the 4th base. Only gets 3 drones. Yeah, looks like Rogue has this one in the bag. Remember, this was an all-in. Oh, no! The F2 rally into the Lurkers, and that'll be that. Rogue putting Cure to rest in game 1 of his return to the GSL. I mean, Rogue took out Beyond in the qualifier, by the way, remember as well. That's the other reason why I'm saying Rogue should be beating him, because I feel like Beyond is so good at Terran versus Zerg. And to be fair, I think he was actually beating Rogue in those series. And Rogue kind of fought back with like Lurker positioning, if memory serves. Do you guys remember these games? There was like, Beyond was getting really well set up for the late game, and then Rogue would just make 20 Lurkers and kind of like beat him with better positioning. It was really interesting. You don't see that very often. Ling Run By is going to do big damage. Drop in the top gets defended. And this is his main base down here. I mean, Q is completely dead. I just don't see how you can win while down in army supply and this far behind in every other regard. I mean, plus 3 Carapace is going to finish just seconds after the other one. I don't want to kill the hype, but it's only for this game. I still think Q could absolutely bring the series out. But it's usually going to come down to his opening build orders and maybe mixing in like a tricky mech opening or something like that. I don't know if he's going to be able to take out Rogue in a very standard game just because Rogue has got such pedigree. Those thousands of games against Maru back on Jin Air Green Wings. The many Katowice semi-finals and quarterfinals he played versus Maru on the biggest stages in the world. Rogue's very tempered. He's very, he's very well conditioned for this sort of situation. Ling Bane should be getting defended. Q is going to GG anyway because he is just too far behind. All right, Q with a rough game 1, but you know what? Things were going kind of okay until that Ling Run By first one hit his 3rd. So I think maybe some spotting depots, maybe leaving a bunker at the 3rd base to help defend could help out. On the other hand, maybe just look for a proxy racks to get way ahead. That can also work. Where's he going, guys? Oh, he's going here, is he? Hello? Okie dokie. No? Where's he? What the? Okay, he's just going to proxy right in the middle. Waiting for the depot to finish. Depot finishes. Barracks goes down. Overlord's going left. He will scout it, but he's going to take a while to see this. Rogue is going for a very standard 16 hatchery opening. Rogue is one of the weaker players when it comes to microing workers and in general, clutch control and micro. I want to explain this because a lot of people go, Dark's such a good player. He's so well-rounded, God gamer. They say, sorry, Rogue is like that. But Dark is way better when it comes to like micro and comebacks and clutch control. Rogue is very smart. But if he doesn't spot this early enough, often he's much more likely to die to a 2-rax than someone like Dark, who can always bring it back against a 2-rax. I'd say Solar is also a little vulnerable sometimes to a proxy rax, but we're going to see how this maps out, because I think this is early enough for him to pull off gas if he wants to pull off gas. It's still kind of... It's not the earliest scout by any means. He's going to see it at about 1:40. Which is not very early. Let's go to Rogue's camera. Let's see how quickly he notices. We're on his camera right now. He sees it. He sees it. Okay. You got to be careful. You don't want to lose the Overlord. If you go over that water, he's going to see you. Okay, he stays on the cliff. That's why he stays on the cliff, so that he doesn't get spotted. Now he's... Oh, actually, these are sight blockers. I didn't realize these were sight blockers, guys. Interesting. All right, Marines. He's going to go for the triple bunker. Oh, it's the triple bunker, guys. Rogue doesn't even try to block it. He's going to react with spines. Oh, I defended this just today, but I was doing 15-15. So I had my 3 spines started up so quickly, and my lings and queens were out way earlier. Oh, I don't know if you can keep the hatchery alive. So Q is going to pop in the Marines in the bunker, pop out, shoot the spine, pop back in, and he can dodge spine crawler attacks if he does this really well. So you can pop in, shoot a spine, pop back in. Now, Rogue can siege a spine crawler. Oh, it's kind of hard. There are certain angles where the spine with its 7 range can outrange the 6 Marine range in the bunker. But only in certain positions. Oh, we see that spine crawler is already heavily damaged. So this is going to be really hard to beat. And notice you should pop the SCVs on the inside. Get those all there on auto repair now. Which he's going to, yeah, he's just going to put those on auto repair, let them repair the bunkers up. So notice Rogue is going to give up the hatchery. He's going to break out with the spine crawler, and he's pulled off gas. He's still building Zerglings. Why is he building Lings? Oh, that spine's in range. He misplaced this spine. I think this spine's misplaced as well, to be fair. That spine there is taking damage. There's only 3 Marines in that bunker, but that spine will go down. He should, yep, 4th Marine's in that bunker now. So let's see that spine. So you've got to place it just right. Neither of those spines was placed correctly. You've got to place it just on the edge of its range and only in certain positions, on certain angles. If you guys want to look up how to outrange bunkers with spines, Google Team Liquid Spine Crawler Outrange Bunker Rush. Look it up. There's a whole thread with diagrams on how to do this. Lings are going to try to break out. That hatchery's dead, though. You cannot break this. You have to just wait for the spines. The thing is, if Cure wants, he can pick off the spines. Super worth it. Yeah, you lose a Marine, not the end of the world. Because he can pop out here as well. He could pop out 7 Marines and actually take out these spines. Oh, he gets that one spine. He does lose another Marine for it. Q is not, like I said, the super fancy Beyond Micro player, but he's still pretty darn good. He barely dodges that one. The second, yeah, Rogue's, wow, Rogue taps. Rogue taps. I want to just talk you guys through that micro a little bit here. So you notice you want to pop out just as the spine crawler hits the bunker and then pop back in, but because he had to go deeper to finish that spine, he took a hit, and this one he missed times. Not that one, the next one. So notice he moves out just as it's attacking, so it just kills the Marines. Doesn't matter. Rogue knows he's stuck there. There's no way to expand. He loses that game. A really nice rush from Rogue, from Cure, sorry. And that bunker wall off, I tell you, if you don't go 15-15, I don't even know how to defend this. I feel like the response is probably pull your drones, block the bunker, and just pull everything, and don't ever let the bunkers get up. Or you could take a second gas go or Roachmore and just give the expansion up. I don't know what's better, but I think you have to choose one of those decisions. I think you can only defend this if you go 15 hatch, 15 pool with the spine crawlers. And I think Rogue, he had a drone down here. He was pulling extra drones. I think he could have pulled his drones. He could have blocked this bunker and got his drones on top of it and fought this. And I think that would have been the best move, because 3 bunkers is pretty expensive. It's only 2 barracks. There's not that many Marines coming in. I think drone pool was probably the best response from Rogue. All right, guys, that was a pretty good cheese build from Cure. Gets to the triple barracks out. He's going to go for the proxy 2-rax, or at-home 2-rax Reaper again this time. His favorite opening. I don't mind this opening. It does create a lot of pressure. I think he was in an okay spot in that last game, but we'll see how we go. Now, people were asking, couldn't he have just grabbed his drones, clicked on a mineral patch outside the base, assume the bunkers are here, And wouldn't they be able to drill and then all attack the bunker at once? It's different on every map, is the way that works. So just for anyone who doesn't know, basically when you stack workers up on some maps, they'll stack against the bunker and you can get like 20 drones to all attack a bunker at once, doing insane damage and then bust through it. But on some maps you do that and the workers will all just bug out over here against the terrain. Or they'll go into the main base and they'll just bug out on this corner. So you kind of need to know what mineral patch to press on what map. But I think he could have stopped the bunker getting up, the third bunker in the first place. And I think that would have worked out really well. I think that would have been his best response there because he had one drone on the low ground that could have blocked and that would have allowed the other drones to come down. But hey, that's all in the past now. Let's focus on this game. Big thank you, Top Zero. No worries. Waking up at 4 a.m. to watch GSL is definitely not a very adult thing to do, is it? It's more of a university, college, dorm room sort of thing. Not many people waking up at 4 a.m. to watch GSL live these days in the adult world. All right, Reaper's coming in for a bit of damage. Queen runs forward. Did he drop a creep tumor? No creep tumor yet. Interesting. Normally you spread creep between your bases, but Rogue messed that up, guys. He's got 40 energy on that queen. He should have put a creep tumor down. That's going to allow these Reapers to come in and potentially get themselves a Zergling. Only one, though. Good Ling micro. That queen's still banking energy like a fat lass. What's she doing, mate? Is he saving it for Transfuse? Maybe it's a conscious decision to save it for Transfuse. Could be. Ooh, he does lose a drone. Oh, he's potentially going to lose a second, but the Reapers do play it carefully and back away. Just 3 Reapers this time around. Third hatchery will be allowed to finish up. Third command center coming in behind it and factory on the high ground, which of course does often lead into a Banshee, but we can see he's building a reactor. So probably just that Hellion Liberator stuff again, but a bit more delayed because he's actually leaving the barracks on the reactor. I'd say the one weakness of Cure with this build is he very rarely follows up with like a 3 racks push or anything like that, or a very fast 2-1-1. It's very unusual. So even if Rogue sees the barracks landed, I don't know how safe he's actually going to play. Like, Rogue still might just follow his normal game plan against this opening. Four queens are out, 2 more building right now. Rogue, it feels like, look at this, let's watch this from Rogue's vision. It feels like he doesn't think he's got to do anything special in this game. Like, look at his scouting, guys. He's got an Overlord watching for when the third base lands. That's the only scouting he's looking for. He's just like, dude, if I build 9 queens, drone up my 3 bases, have some Zerglings to stop run-bys, like, I'm safe versus 90% of builds. And this is why I was saying I would have liked to see Cure bring out one of those really niche, super cheesy 2-port battlecruiser, 3-port battlecruiser, you know, something just crazy. Because Rogue, much like Sue, skimps on scouting in this matchup, and that's something that can be punished. Now, the Lings should pull back there. His Lings going after the Reapers was a little bit awkward, but he pulls them back. And you can see now, Baneling Nest, mass gas transition. It's odd that he went Baneling Nest when he did. I think he's a little paranoid, because normally you go Lair, then Baneling Nest. Going it this way really delays your Baneling speed. He's building spores on each base because he saw the Liberator move out. Where's that Lair, buddy? 100 gas. Just hit 100 gas. And he should be starting that Lair. There we go. 5 minute and 13 second Lair. Seems pretty late, but remember, there was heavy aggression with the Reapers this game, so both players are slowed down from where they'd normally be. Third and fourth gas goes down. Double medevacs coming. It is going to be the Marine production with combat shields. 4 Reapers, 3 Hellions hanging out on the front, looking for these creep tumors. Liberator is very slowly going to chip at this Overlord. For those who don't know, Liberator damage is so low that Overlords actually regenerate like 20 life while they're getting killed by a Liberator. I'm exaggerating that number, but it's probably not too far off. Since he'd been spotted, this is actually the smart way to do it. Just grab some free damage. Man, if a Queen came and transfused that, though, I'd be tilted. But he does finally kill it. Remember, the Liberator does splash damage anti-air, so it's not a good single target effective unit. If you get a bunch of them, though, they can blast down Mutalisks, Phoenix, those sort of units that are clumped up. 1-1 upgrades should be coming in soon. He's going Burrow insanely early here. 1-1, Burrow, Baneling speed, 74 drones. Dude, Q is finding... Rogue's been so greedy, he should just die to this, right? This is ridiculously greedy. Like, Rogue's actually... He trapped his own queens with Banelings. Baneling cocoons. I feel like if Cure was hitting a stiff timing, he'd just kill Rogue this game. But maybe Rogue knows that he's a predictable player. Rogue has always been a strategy guy who likes to cut corners and be greedy when he thinks he can get away with it. Liberator in the main gets 5 kills as well. That Liberator's going to go down. It's a shame that didn't reposition. That really could have taxed Rogue's multitasking. The Marines in the main going to trade out. This is not bad damage, but it's also not the damage he was looking for. Hellions and Reapers are going to go in that left side. They're going to try and get in the middle line, but the Lings are there, and I like that he pulls those back. They would have just been taken down pretty easily by those Zerglings, so good choice by Cure to pull them back. Good spready on the Marines. Not that good. Does end up losing a medevac on most of the Marines. The spready was not the right choice. I was like, oh, I normally see people focus fire or pick up. I don't see them spread in that scenario. So I was like, oh, that's a cool, different way of doing things, and it seems to be appropriate for the situation. But one extra Baneling snuck through on the right and the left and meant it was not worth it at all. Armory's coming in. Should time out decently with the 1-1. Marine tank is building. Feels like Q has done pretty decent trading. And Rogue back up to 72 drones now. But yeah, going 74 drones off 9 Zerglings was insane. That's a truly special Rogue sort of level of just disgusting disrespect for his opponent. Cure, unfortunately, not watching, loses 4 Marines, but 2 Banelings. It does cost money. 2 Banelings going down there. It's not free for the Zerg. 1-1 upgrades are about to finish for Zerg. Terran's Armory's just kicked in, which means Cure could take a slight lead on the upgrades. We'll just see how quick he is on those. Marine Hellbat tank on the front. He is dedicated to shoving in and not giving Rogue time to establish himself. Problem is, that means his attention's on the front, which means he does not start 2-2 until now. There we go, he starts it though. Zerg spending all their time building Hydras, Lings, and Banes. Rogue is distracted from starting his 2-2. I do wish this tank was in the corner there or there a little bit more. I'd like this tank to get ferried up over this side perhaps, would be kind of nice. The Marines, the Hellbats, slowing down the creep. Nice tank positioning. And you can see he's just shuffling that tank into the corner, so it's harder for Lings to surround. A couple of Hellbats spread out in front. Marines are going to go to the right side, clear the creep over there as well. This is a really good map control move for Cure. The question is, how all in is he behind it? Because he's on 8 barracks right now, guys. Oh, they're not building add-ons. He's all in. But he forgot to rally his barracks, which is a big problem. It means he's got quite a few Marines chilling, and he's actually not got that many reactors up. I think it's 4 reactors on his barracks, which is okay. Nothing to write home about, though. It's only 3, actually. 3 reactors on his barracks, 1 on his starport. So he did miss 1 reactor on his barracks. Nonetheless, with 8 barracks building, he'll have plenty of Marines. Tanks bio there. Here comes the Ling Bane, guys. Ling Bane is going to overwhelm the tanks in the north. The Marines need to pull back and focus fire whatever they can. The Marines in the south fighting the Queen still. Looks like he's going to get overwhelmed. Q staying a little bit too long. Oh, does save a few Marines in the tail end of it. And he's got to reinforce moving out. The problem is, on one factory, you're only building 1 tank at a time. So this gives Rogue a moment to respread creep, to lick his wounds, and potentially recover. What Rogue's really missing right now is Ling counterattacks. If he had Lings striking from the left or from this side, intercepting the rally, I think he would have got massive value there. Because he didn't do that and he's decided to drone up, I think Q's next push might kill him. Tanks moving forward. Nice setup on the gold bases. Marines spreading forwards very nicely. Lingbane Hydra moving south. Queens are there. Lots of Lingbane on the left as well. Here we go. Queen Lingbane Hydra moving forwards. The Liberators sieging up. The Marines, the tanks doing what they can. Ooh, Queen's trying to hang on that side. Doing a good job of slowing this down. Q's 2-2 is about to kick in. So this is perfect for him. 2-2 is still about 20, maybe 30 seconds away for Zerg. That's really good for Q. These Marines are trading real well. Oh, that hatchery's getting real low. The hatchery's getting real low, big guy. Oh, Rogue may need to go Hulk smash soon. That hatchery's going to fall. Maybe a good choice to just give it up, I guess. Guys, he's making mass Hydra with no upgrades. Or 7 Hydras. Oh! He doesn't stim his Marines. Cure with a very silly mistake. Loses 15 Marines for no good reason there. It's because he's trying to shove his whole army forward. Is Rogue going to take advantage? He's going to try to. Lings on the right. The Marines are doing so good against the Lings. The Banelings attacking around a corner. This is a terrible spot for Rogue to engage. A terrible spot for Rogue to engage. Cure is going to rinse that Zerg army out. Luckily, he did take out all but one of the tanks and libs, though. So if those Marines shove on creep, he could win. Cure actually should play slow. Scan this creep tumor on the south and slowly inch his way into range of this base. If he pushes too fast, he might throw it away. Rogue is not counterattacking at all, which is ridiculous. On this map, it's all about counterattacks because this push angle is so good for Terran. It's kind of like 101 of Alcyon is counterattack. Do not fight front on. That being said, he catches Terran in the open. The Banelings, if they could overwhelm, this might work out. Cure takes a few seconds to turn and fight with those Marines. The Banelings do not connect, and Cure ends up being the medicine for Rogue. Rogue struggling to keep up pace with Cure in that Zerg vs Terran. Not the words I was expecting to say today. After giving up the base, it made no sense to fight around that corner. It was a very bad decision by Rogue. The pressure got to him, guys. It happens to the best of us. But at this point, it's like, cool, you're giving up this base. You should be taking this hatchery, transferring your drones, and you're like, okay. To attack here makes no sense. What is this attack? His whole army is here, attacking around a corner to the right and a corner to the left. So his units are naturally going to be clumping up around all these little edges and choke points, getting stuck behind each other. This is such an awful position. I think it's the lib sieging. Cure went for such a cocky lib siege, and it actually baited Rogue into fighting. Rogue also doesn't have any Hydra upgrades here, guys. No groove spines, no muscular augments. I think it was the forward lib siege just kind of triggered Rogue. He was like, oh, you can't do that. But no, he got totally wrecked. This was an awful engagement. So bad. He really should have been counterattacking. We know that counterattacks are one of the best ways to deal with an 8-Rax, and after holding the first push, I truly feel if he sent his Lings around the left side of the map, respread creep aggressively through this area at the same time, he would have had a much better chance of holding against the next wave. A little bit unfortunate for Rogue there, but it is what it is. Alright. We've got Dark up here in the top left side of the map in match 2. Stats in the bottom right, and Cure is waiting in the winner's match. So if you can win this match, you arguably get a much easier path to winning this group. No offense to Cure, but Cure is the weakest player in this group in my opinion, even though... No, that's harsh. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. I mean, like, okay, for Dark. I think Dark never loses to Cure. If Dark beats Stats, that's going to be great. Problem, I think Stats is actually way better at PvZ than Dark right now. So I think Stats beats Dark. I think Cure might top this group, because I think Cure beats Stats, Stats beats Dark. I think Dark beats Rogue in the losers match, and then we'll have a Dark Stats rematch where Dark will probably cheese Stats out. I remember, if I'm literally telling you what's going to happen in the future, that's because I know a lot about the players. It's not because I looked at the results. I literally don't know what happens, but I'm just thinking about how these players match up because, yeah, I think Dark dumpsters Cure. I think Cure can beat Stats and is probably favored. And I think Stats might dumpster Dark. Anyone dumpstering Dark is obviously wishful thinking. Let's be real. No one dumpsters Dark. I don't think he beats Dark. Defends Dark's BS. I think Stats can do that as the Shield of Ire. He's just so good at defending in this matchup. The hatchery block, though, disrupting his build order. He's pulled so many probes, though. He's very mineral focused. Notice he's only got one worker on gas. This is the way I like to respond to this. His Nexus gets blocked for a second there. He does finally get it down. So we've seen a lot of players recently respond to the hatchery block really well, but leave 3 workers on gas and only pull like 4 or 5 probes, but they pull them a little bit earlier. Interestingly, Stats goes for the super mineral-centric opening, which is the one that I always thought was better. But that's probably because I learnt Protoss from studying a lot of Stats games. Dude, Dark just denied a mineral patch completely. Dark giving Protoss a taste of his own medicine. Oh, to be fair, Dark's also... They both denied an entire mineral patch. They both focused completely aggressively on their micro and not defensively. Oh my god, please fix your mining, Dark. Please. Okay, thankfully one of the drones bugs out and actually starts mining that mineral patch. Stats has not fixed this one. He's only got 1 worker there as well. So both sides are having a very fun little harassment battle where they both messed up the other guy's mining. Oh, extractor trick there because he forgot his Overlord. Allows him to start a bunch of Zerglings, but that Adept's already here, man. Stats wants to trade these units. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, Adept's seeing what they can do. Oh, pull back. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Adept's getting good value, man. 3 Zerglings, not bad for a bit of shields. Oh, big supply block for Stats. So both sides hit supply blocks in the chaos of this early game. That's really funny. It really shows Dark messed the game up, and that's usually good for Dark. Because Dark's he's good in chaos, he's good in messy situations. Stats a very organized, logical player who builds advantages systematically, whereas Dark just does random stuff and excels. So he's really good in these weird situations, but good focus fire, dude. He manages to kill 6 Zerglings in total. He will lose that Adept, but not before taking out 7 Zerglings. And it's not only killing 7 Zerglings, it's you forced 14 Zerglings out. All of those aren't drones, and that's what allows the economy to stay pretty even. Now, unfortunately, that's got to be a misclick. No reason to shade that Adept in at this point. Gets himself a drone, which is not too bad. Hey, that's all right. A couple of drone kills do go down. One in the natural. I guess he got one in the natural and one in the main. Well done. Void Ray is there as well. Or maybe he must have caught one rallying out of the third, actually. Lings are going to come forward. The Void Ray is a very safe unit, but the Overlord's already running away. He saw the Void Ray building, so the Void Ray probably won't catch that Overlord unless he goes looking very far away for it. Lings are going to find the probe. I think Dark can get a head off this start, but he's already making a lair, which tells us he's all-inning. He's doing a Queenling Nidus, guys. Normally you want a second gas to this build, but he might just do the single gas version. So he's just going to build up queens, drones, and zerglings. Sometimes Dark goes to 50 workers with this. He hits some of the latest Queenling Niduses you'll ever see from a pro Zerg player, where it's on paper really bad, but it can work because it's so surprising. Void Ray did end up catching the Overlord, by the way. Oracle and Adept can defend. He's got to send the Oracle back, though. That was a bit greedy. Leaves the Adept unmanned, but does that end up being a bait? Kind of does. Good Oracle micro. Grabs 1, 2, 3 Zerglings with the Oracle. Not too bad. Luckily for Dark, he's pulled all of his Overlords back. Or not luckily, but skillfully. Realizing there's a Void Ray on the map, you do not want to leave any Overlords, as they are easy pickings. He dives into the mineral line on the third. That's actually his most open target where he could maybe kill a drone. Problem is, queens from the high ground and from the low ground could sandwich him, so the Void Ray could get taken out. Forge and Twilight's on the way. We've already got the third and fourth and gas up. Stats is looking great in a macro game. Unfortunately for him, Dark is, like I said, going 45 to 50 drone, Queenling Nidus. 48 drones, 7 queens, nothing but Zerglings. Stats needs to realize what's happening right now, and he has no idea. Adepts come forward, pick off the creep tumor, and they do back away. He sees a drone coming out, which might convince him that it's a macro game. It's absolutely not. He sees a decent amount of drones on the third. The reason Dark drones so heavily and hits such a late timing is he wants Protoss to see a full third base and think it's a normal game. And I think Stats has been tricked. He's going up to 4 gateways. Dark has been recycling this build ever since the Void Ray first got patched. I did a guide on this video back in 2021, I think it was, or 2020. And actually, yeah, 2020, it would have been like start, even pre-COVID maybe. It's a pretty good all-in if it surprises your opponent. But all he's doing is popping out front, which is not that scary. If these units can get back into the mineral line, oh, he's going to lose his battery. Okay, big start for Dark. Big start for Dark. Those Adepts need to pull back. They need to fight the Lings, not the Queens. Adepts are getting overwhelmed. Oracles aren't taking a part in this fight at all. Stats is going to lose his third. 7 probes go down. He saves a few of them, but he will survive behind this. The question is, can Dark build an advantage? He's building 3 queens. This is a big problem Dark normally has with this build, is he doesn't replace his queens and he's got no injects. This time he stacked up extra injects on these hatcheries and built 3 queens. A much better transition. Is this GSL finals Dark? Are we seeing the mythical Dark that doesn't get supply blocked and actually prepares for the next step? If so, Stats might be screwed. Stats is in trouble right now. He's going to find himself way behind. Canceling the battery is the correct move. He has to get out and take a third. Dark is going to get up to 3 bases of drones, and then he's going to mass Hydras, and Stats needs to start a Templar Archives and Psystorm, but he doesn't have that information. We have the information about the Hydras, he does not. He doesn't know how committed this is. If his Oracles could find damage, that'd be good, but there's a Queen and a Spore there ready for it. Nidus Worm goes down there. Queens and Zerglings excelling right now. Stasis Trap goes down. Oh, freezing the Queens up good. He could now siege up over here, get those workers on that side. Stalkers don't have blink just yet. He's got to be careful. He's going to lose one of them. One of those Stalkers does go down. Oracles are in the back. If he can focus down 8 or 10 drones, maybe he could tie this up a little. But right now, Dark is building an abundance of workers. Those Queens on the high ground popping out of that Nidus to defend in a very central location, making this very tough. Stats needs to take the third base on the right. He needs to go Storm. And if he doesn't do those things right now, he's probably dead. To be fair, he's probably dead anyway. If he brings it back from here, it'll be very impressive. Dark has a 16 worker advantage. The only thing Dark's missing right now is a 4th base and a 5th base. Like, he needs macro hatcheries or something. He doesn't actually have enough lava to spend all of his money. The 3rd base gets started at 8 minutes. 51 probes for Stats, but no splash damage on the way. Gateway Man is not going to cut it. I don't care how good your blink micro is. You are not going to take down a Zerg that has 15 more workers than you, just with Stalkers and Zealots. Templar Archive starts behind this. Lings do get intercepted. These are the correct moves for Stats. He's on 6 gateways. He's got a Void Ray patrolling because he knows there's a good chance of another Nidus trying to pop in his main. Lurker Den's on the way, guys. Dark is showing us the infamous North American ladder style. Usually, we don't see this above 4.5k. It's Lair Tech Lurkers. This is a special strategy. People on the ladder, when they lose to it, often call it special needs, but that's them being idiots. It's actually quite good. It's a short-term timing strategy. It has to hit hard, it has to hit fast, but against a guy with pure Stalkers, what's he going to do against it? Yeah, they've only got 8 range, Stalkers only have 6. You don't need 10 range Lurkers if your opponent doesn't have Immortals or Disruptors or some sort of counter unit. And right now, Stats, he's just starting Storm. He does not have a counter. Stalker pressure on the front. Stats needs to get some value. Doesn't lose a single Stalker. Pretty well done so far. Third base over there. The main base can transfer to it. So a good thing about being on 54 workers is 54, 60 workers is actually enough to take the third gases. Stalkers trying to dance back and forth. Storm's there. +2's on the way as well. Oh, blink back. Nice blink backs. Fourth base up the top, fifth base down the bottom. I do think that fourth and fifth could have been up a little earlier. Units lost up is 1,000 resources in favor of Stats. The supply looks kind of okay. I really feel like Dark needs to swing the hammer soon. He needs to get across the map. Muscular Augments is finishing. He's got +1 melee. He's building a lot of Zerglings. He's going to defend with Lurker Queen, and he's going to try to pop the Hydras up on the other side of the map. Where's he go, though? Where's he going to pop this Nidus, guys? Lurkers and Queens. Is he just going to pop his whole army? Is he going to defend with nothing but Queens and Queens? He's literally going to try and defend with no units. Oh, Dark is such a crazy person. Observer sees it. Observer sees it. Zealots could deny it. If he can deny the Nidus when only 1 or 2 Lurkers get out, this could be huge. He's going to take it out. That's going to go down. He only gets a few Hydras out. The Zealots clean him up. Stats getting on top of this. Dark is screwing around way too much right now. Putting your whole army in a Nidus worm like that is such a silly move. Dark is kind of like forcing himself into a desperate position when he should be miles ahead. He's got to... No, again! Send some lings across the map. Stop F2ing Dark. Dark is letting Stats back into this game. Stats has 4 High Templar with lots of energy building up. He's only 30 seconds away from getting a second Storm on each one of them. Stats, he's got to get these Stalkers out of here, though. He's trying to hold back this attack. I mean, Stats is still miles behind. 25 army supply behind. The Immortal gets surrounded. The Stalkers are in a bit of trouble, but they're going to intercept. Oh, if he catches the Lurkers. Blinking on those Lurkers is worth it. Great move, but the Zealots get surrounded. The Immortal gets surrounded. There might just not be enough here for Stats. If he blanketed Storms on this, it could have been good, but his High Templar are a little bit too slow to get in the action. Remember, Stats is a tactical player. He's a very smart player. He's got amazing precision, but he's not a crazy multitasker. He's not as fast as Dark. Dark is able to apply his disorganized chaos to this messy situation and make magic happen. The Storm's not really doing that much, but he's got second Storms about to kick in. The Lurkers get pushed back. Stats holds. Stats with a heroic hold. The Stalkers stopped him from getting across the map, and he wrecked him. Oh, big Psy Storm as well. Yes, the Queens will kill the Void Ray, but dude, he focused the Nidus. I think focusing the Nidus would be the play. There is still 1 Lurker in the back, but remember, it's an 8-range Lurker. Another Storm comes in, which is nice. I think the Nidus focus would have been huge. Blinking forward, a little sloppy from Stats, but you know what? He cleans it up. It's well done. If he can get a 4th base going, that'd be massive. Problem, he has to take it in the north. So I think for Stats, rebuild High Templar, get that energy gathering. You need like 6 High Templar and rebuild the 4th. He's actually going to wait for the creep to clear, which is fair enough. There's only 1 tumor, so it should go down. Dark, just sloppy. Incredibly sloppy play to have his entire army defending and then his entire army load into a Nidus, which gets stopped twice in its tracks. This was incredibly sloppy. Dark put himself into a sort of timing attack position. I told you, the Lurkers with 8 range, you got to hit a sharp timing. And he just sat at home with his whole army and relied on a Nidus surprising Stats despite having 0 spotting units. And of course, Stats was monitoring the creep, which is the place where he knows another Nidus worm is likely to go up. So very sloppy for Dark. He now puts himself behind. However, is he massively behind? No, because he's got a 4th base. So now that he's got the gases up, if he can defend 4 base gas, he's in a good spot. Oh god, Stats, no, get out of here. Run, Stats. Okay, Observer sees the Hydra flank coming in. That's important. He's got to get out. He's going to lose a few Stalkers, but, 3 Stalkers is not too bad. Gets a couple Lings. It could have been worse. I think he killed a Queen as well. The problem here is that Dark can now go 85 workers, and Stats is not probing at all because he's kind of stuck in this holding pattern of being so paranoid, and his 4th base is so incredibly late. It's so late. I'd like to see Stats drop a 5th if he wants to play a longer game and really round out his tech. He's only now going to 8 gateways, telling you just how far behind Stats was earlier in this game. Oh, I mean, he tries to blink away, but at this stage, the Hydra Ling's too mobile. Running around with a force of Stalkers is no longer as useful as it once was. That being said, he does attack on the right side as well. These Stalkers starting to go down to the Zerglings, though. This is really good trades for Dark. He's going to close down in on that unit's loss tab. High Templar, Immortal Oracle here. I would have loved to see him tag that creep, and most importantly, tag the army. It's Mass Hydra Ling against Psystorm, guys. Of course, Dark runs forward and clicks on a High Templar. A super risky move. Cops himself a lot of damage on the Hydras, but he gets a High Templar kill without really losing much. 2 Immortals, 2 Archons building. Lots of High Templar with Storm. Stats wants to finish him. I think with the right fight, Stats can, but it feels to me like Stats is maybe a little bit too all in. I think if Dark gets a good enough surround, he can take this army out, especially if he focuses down a few more High Templar. He's just got to not clump into the Storm. He's doing a good job of that so far. The Archons are spreading out. Bad fight for Stats. Oh, good Storms on the bottom. On the top, the Zealots did okay, but Dark, if he can spread this out just well enough, he might be able to bust through. The Archon Zealot in the top doing pretty well. Oracle's going down. Hydra's filtering in from the right side. It's a lot of Zerg, but it's even more Protoss. Stats with a +2 Immortal Archon Zealot. Dead Hydras and Queens in the north. Hydras overwhelming the top right, but they got crushed on every other front. And man, Stats fights back. Exactly like last season. Do you guys remember last season? Stats was dead to rights 2 games in a row versus Shin. Fought back from pretty much dead and made amazing comebacks. He's done it again here versus Dark. To be fair, Dark screwed the pooch. Dark relying on the Nidus Worm as much as he did was a rookie error, and Stats punished him for it big time. That extra minute delay on Dark's push was all the time Stats needed, and I've got to give props to him. That Stalker interception in the middle of the map was so good at slowing the push down. Stats with an amazing comeback. Alright guys, Stats with an epic holding game 1, and it's so funny because I was like, I think Stats can stop Dark's silliness. And with how that game opened, I was like, well, Dark just has this in the bag. I mean, he could have just played a macro game. He could have gone Hive Tech Lurkers. Or he could have just done the strategy he did, but actually split his army in half and just ran it across the map rather than relying on the Nidus. The Nidus should have just been used for a reinforce. Can you guys imagine if his Lurkers ran across the map, sieged in like the natural and the third, half of his Hydra Ling went with them, pops a Nidus in the main at the same time for his reinforcements to pop out of? There's no way Stats had the numbers to cover all of that. But we'll see how we go. We were chatting about food. I'm sorry, guys. I know this channel's just me talking about food. Every time I have a break in between the games for a minute, people are saying, do you unironically enjoy Vegemite? Vegemite's great. Vegemite yeast extract comes out of the bottom of the beer vats. It's actually very nice. It's just a very salty, very umami flavor. You can put it in stews and things like that. For me, personally, I mostly just use it occasionally when I am actually eating bread. If I have some fresh bread, just with a lot of butter, white bread, and a very thin spread of Vegemite across it, it shouldn't even be covering the whole layer. If you spread Vegemite correctly, because it's such a strong, thick substance, you want it to like have more butter showing than Vegemite on top of the bread. That's kind of the way to do it. It's also very good with cheese. It's fantastically good with cheese. You can use margarine. That's what you would have used back in the old days. Back when everyone was like, fat's gonna kill you. You can't have butter. It's bad for you. Growing up, that's all we ever had was some sort of, you know, gray sludge that had been colored with yellow food coloring to make us pretend it was actually like butter. It's, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, but definitely more of a fan of butter these days. That being said, I'm not a big eater of bread whenever I'm trying to be healthy, whenever I'm kind of doing a cut, as the bodybuilders would say. I don't find breads very conducive to that. And that's usually the sort of food that I'm avoiding. Because I can eat an entire loaf of bread basically in like a sitting. If it's like good fresh bread, damn man. Put some butter on that, I'll smash. Okay guys, so Dark's opening a bit more standard this time, no disruptions. Let's see how he does with his supply blocks. Because, like I said, if he doesn't get supply blocked, he does really, really good. No inject happening in the main. And it looks like he wants to spread creep on the natural, but he's also not spreading creep there. Dark, what are we doing? Okay, he was staring at the Zerglings to sneak them in. He finally injects the main in the natural, but he still does he spread creep? And he spreads creep. Okay. So these Lings run in and they get a scout off, but definitely Dark messing up his macro to focus on that, and now he's forgotten to build Overlords. Luckily, the third base will unsupply block him in a moment, but he's got more Lings going across the map. He's only got 3 Queens right now. He's in position to defend this. He'll lose 2 drones, but worth it to damage an Oracle that well, because that does lose its ability to keep diving like that. All right, Lings are going to dart in, dart out. Third Nexus starts just before 4 minutes. So this is kind of weird. Are we doing it again? He's actually going to do it just a faster version of it, or he's doing a Hydra Rush, one or the other. Basically, he's just doing cheese. He does not want to play a normal game against Stats. Stats is very good in a normal game. Dark faltered last season in GSL because he let Classic macro up. That was the big problem that he had. He let Classic play his turtle game to late game, and Dark does not really play a lot of late game. He's not an expert at it. He's an expert at killing people. So trying to kill people is the way to do it. More drones are coming out. He's on 6 queens. Overlords are popping. He has been supply blocked a few times in this early game, but they've only been small ones. Nothing impactful. Nothing where you're sitting there for 30 seconds. Second gas goes down only now. Ling's starting to be built. That could just be in response to the Adepts coming forward. Trying to read Dark's mind is pretty rough. He's only got 6 queens. He should probably have more if he's doing the Nidus Queen Ling again. I'm very confused about Dark's choices here. The Adepts are going to shade in. The Lings, though, look at the way he clumped the Lings on the inside, so they had some decent surface area. He needs the Queens back here, though. He needs the drones to run. Drones, get out of there. Already 4 drones have gone down to the Oracles at the same time in the third base. Oh, he's letting these drones go back to mining. And he's just doing the same Queenling Nidus. He's just trying to hit it a little bit earlier, but it's not even going to hit earlier. This is a super late Queenling Nidus. He started the Nidus really late. Did they see it? And they've seen the Nidus as well. 4 gateways building. There's no way Stats will be surprised by this one. I'm not sure if he noticed the Nidus one because a lot was going on at that time. But this seems very flaccid from Dark. Very unimpressive to do the same strategy twice. He got lucky that it worked as well as it did in game 1. And he kind of let that one slip away. But not looking too confident. I know Dark's been talking about struggling against Protoss for a while. But I think there's a lack of confidence here. Oh, he gets... Wait, did he just get 2 Stalkers? He just got both Stalkers! He just got both Stalkers. Okay, that's pretty big. And he's going to surround the Adepts. At least he's wasting a lot of Oracle energy out here. Oh, we shouldn't speak too soon. Those gateways aren't quite done. He's on 4 warp gates right now with his 5th and 6th about to finish morphing. That Stalker is going to go down. He doesn't have a battery on the 3rd. No battery on the 3rd. Stats. He mustn't have realized it was a Nidus Worm, guys. He mustn't have realized he's going to lose his 3rd again. Stats. Oh, you did not want to lose a 3rd. At least he pulls his probes quicker this time. And the Oracles will be able to shut down the Nidus inside the main base. But Dark can now drone up. He's got a Queen injecting 2 of his hatcheries, 1 about to pop at the 3rd. And he's going to go for an Evo chamber behind this. Interesting. Feels like Stats wants to get a bit of value, try to pick off some units, but losing an Adept for not too much value. And he doesn't have Blink. Oh no, he loses his Stalkers. Oh, Stats. Loses 2 Stalkers there. Luckily, the battery overcharges in range of those ones, so those do A-okay. Queens are still going to continue to fight here because he's like, dude, I got a ton of transfuse. Because he can just keep spamming those transfuses out, and that will tank all the damage. Batteries will run out of energy eventually. And look at that, guys. 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers. This is so good value for Dark. He is droning behind it as well. He should just really drone up. Stats is way ahead on workers. But of course, those workers aren't really worth much right now. Now, because he's out of Zerglings, he should run away with these Queens. Transfuse the Nidus and get out. Get out. Dude, what are we doing? Oh, he's got another Nidus behind. Okay. I don't think he should hang around too long. He wanted to delay all this getting cleaned up. With 3 Oracles, he should be able to clean up the creep pretty quickly. Gateway on the other side. Oh, Stats is going to go all in. Stats is like, okay, this is too delayed. But he's got 60 probes. I feel like with so many workers, surely you want to macro up. But I think Stats is going to go all in. Now, Dark is building Overlords and Hydras right now. Looks like he didn't lose that many Overlords. He's spreading creep over there. I love that. I think that's really cute. Spreading creep with the Nidus Worm, but creep over here is actually the more important area. So it's more important that he spreads it at home right now. He's building mass lings. His Hydra ends up, but he doesn't have any upgrades finished. Groove Spine's about halfway done, 3/4 of the way done. 8 Overlords building. 8 Overlords. Dark massively overbuilding Overlords right now. He's going to go up to about 108 out of 180 supply. And that is a big overbuild of Overlords, which means he's not got the army supply to contest Stats right now, and he needs to defend this counterattack. The Queens will come forward. The Lings need to focus the stasis trap. They do so. Good Lings surround from the back, but there's just not that many Lings. He has to pull away from the Oracles, which he does very well. The Queens are doing a good job. Imagine if there was just 30 more Zerglings here. He would be able to break this, but now the Queens are falling. He's running out with Hydras. The Hydras are getting overwhelmed. Oh, man. Dark. He's got... Oh man, so few units, and the Stalkers are just going to blink and take out the Hydras now. Blink forward, maybe a bit too cocky there. Drones get us around, the Hydras doing some damage. There's just so few Hydras actually attacking. The Oracles are still hovering in the back. A little bit of energy available, but now that there's defensive blink micro, Those Stalkers refusing to die. He's got charge and +1 armor on the way behind this as well. He already has +1 attack against the 0-0 of Dark. Even though the attack found the third base 2 games in a row, Dark has let it slip away through his sloppy follow-ups. This is an unfortunate turn of events. Stats has this game in the bag because right now he's got Zerg down to 45 drones. It's essentially 2 base mining against 2 base mining, and he's got an overwhelming, overbearing army. Gets on in there and just shoves it through Stats. Wow, overwhelming. Now, to be fair, would he have been able to defend that is my question. If he didn't build those overlords. Let's look at that response, that follow-up, sorry, for Dark. Because this is a pretty late Nidus Worm, and that counterattack hit pretty stiff. And Stats was able to mine this, like, a bit of minerals off this third, so we got some value up there. I think with a bit more organization, Stats could have defended the third. But you know what? Pulling back seems like the safer play with how sloppy Dark's follow-ups are. So let's see. He's droning. He's building queens. So he's transitioned pretty quickly. And he killed a few Stalkers as well, remember. I do think he probably should have started the Hydrogen a bit earlier. You can see here, he doesn't have any supply free. He starts a 4th base, but look how much money he has. He's got a lot of money banking up, and he's supply blocked, which is awkward. He builds an Overlord. Obviously, the queens take a lot of micro. As you lose some queens and lings, at least that allows you to build more drones, though. He's got 9 lava there available, but he's not able to spend a lot of it. And it does look like he's injecting reasonably well. His natural and third haven't injected in a little bit, but he was focused on the front, so fair enough. Should be injecting those now. Oh. Oh, gosh. Guys, he's still only got 1 Overlord building. And he hasn't injected his natural or his third in so long. Finally, he injects them. That was a long time. That was a long time. And I don't mind the trying to spread creep over here, but this should be low priority. His highest priority should have been fixing his macro and his recovery. Popping out a Nidus there to do extra creep spread to be annoying. This is like a fun bonus thing. But definitely his fundamentals were lacking this game. He gets up to 62 drones. If he just massed lings from here, Hydras and stuff, he'd be good. But he's still just does not have any supply free. And you can see that he kind of goes, oh, let's build 10 Overlords now. And just a stiff counterattack from Stats. He lost 8 Stalkers. I mean, the trading was so good for Dark. Yeah, Dark definitely should have got himself miles ahead. But just builds too many Overlords, man. Building 8, 9, 10 Overlords, I think it was. Just too many. Loses another one sitting out there as well. And Stats with the proxy gate counterattack gets him. Really well played by Stats. And Dark just a little too sloppy. The Nidus, he seems to have Stats' number. And this is what Dark does really well. He surprised him with the Nidus both games. And Stats seem to be caught off guard. And I really don't think it's a good position to be in for Stats. But it seems like the follow-up for Stats and his ability to make comebacks as a defensive Protoss demand a higher level of execution. Dark cannot be so sloppy against a guy like Stats. All right, guys. We've got Stats in the bottom right side, Cure in the top left, and it's the winner's match. A lot of people wouldn't have expected this one, but like I said, even though I didn't expect Cure to beat Rogue, I said, you know, his chances are way better. Like you see Rogue, you know, do really well and beat guys like Beyond and stuff. But then a guy like Cure is just kind of very methodical and technical and solid, can sometimes get through Rogue. Rogue admittedly did not counterattack nearly as much as he should have. And now against Stats, I think Q is actually very good against Stats. I think Q might be the favorite. I don't know how well Q has been doing in this matchup since the last season. Obviously, because we've seen a big patch. Guys like Beyond and Maru have gone from looking nigh untouchable in this matchup to looking very mortal. There are times when they get ripped apart. They don't look good in the matchup, or not as good as they did. That is a misplaced command center, my friends. There's no way I'm incorrect on this, right? That's got to be one space off. That should be one space to the left. I'm not crazy, right? You guys can call me out if I'm insane or not. Stalkers hanging around, seeing what they can do. Reaper pulling back. Twilight Council is on the way. We've got a Stalker out, second one on the way as well. So we've got a factory, a starport, a barracks. What else is going on? Just Widowmine walking on the map. Extra Widowmine. Very old school standard opening for Cure. And I actually think this is why I really like Cure in this matchup right now. Compared to some guys like Maru and Beyond, who have looked a little bit obsessed with 3cc, I feel like Cure still, 90% of the time, is going for some sort of opening pressure like a Widowmine drop, into 3 racks, into stim, get a Raven in the back door, auto turret harass, and then just do your standard, 3 racks bio pressure, where, don't get me wrong, Stats should be the best player in the world at defending this out of Protoss players if you do it too predictably. But actually defending Q's pressures over the last years, we've seen even when you know it's coming, it's always harder to pull off than you expect because the pace of TVP matches Q's speed. That being said, Stats is also not that fast a player, but he's an incredibly precise player, and I think he does have much better micro than Q. So I think Stats has better micro than Q, whilst Q, being the Terran, being the aggressor, absolutely has opportunities to catch him off guard. Now this is 3-gate Robo Blink safety battery for Stats, and he's got a third gas. And what's interesting about that, he has moved his command center over, by the way. He did reposition that. Ooh. Okay, 3 Widowmine drop into the main. Stats moves his Stalker down a little bit late. Ooh, he doesn't have a lot of time to react. Oh god, Stats! Okay, I thought he wasn't watching. I was like, dude. Oh, unfortunately pulls 2 probes into that first Widowmine. So it's going to be 4 probes that go down and only a single Stalker hit on the medevac. Very successful first mine drop. Behind this, we've got a Raven out, a tank, a second barracks lifts onto the tech lab, and then the third barracks can lift onto this tech lab when that is done as well. I mean, this is just your standard TVP, isn't it? But he does it well. And Stats is finding himself in a pressure moment. He's got a third Nexus on the way, so he's going to play Blink triple gas. So you might be wondering, guys, why third gas if he's not playing Colossus? The answer is Stats is a man who believes in the power of the Observer. He wants to build lots of observers, get lots of map vision. He's got 1 going forward, 1 going back right now. 1 sitting at home in case like a Banshee comes in or something like that. He's a player who will build a few more observers and really set up that map vision more methodically than other Protoss players. You guys want to get better at very defensive, macro-focused Protoss? Stats is the guy to watch. I know you've all been starving for a Protoss player who plays like this because even though MaxPax is very good and very quite macro-centric, he does so much fancy multitasking that I think sometimes you watch Stats and it's a little bit more like, this is how you play a defensive game with slight technical pressures. Whereas MaxPax would be in your face, multitasking in 3 places at once while macroing. It's a bit harder to scale that down to your average Joe skill level. But look at that, guys. He gets a reactor, damages a depot. And because there's 3 tanks up, you don't want to do any more than that. You do not want to commit in here. Behind it, Robobay, Forge, charges on the way. Just 2 observers for now. I would have liked to see him squeeze a third one out while he was waiting for the Robobay to finish, but it is what it is. 5 gateways coming up. Now, to be fair, going 3 tanks and a Raven is pretty heavy. Stim and Shields is going to be pretty delayed. Can he actually overwhelm Stats? Now, if Stats stops at 4 gases and just 60 probes, if he just stops probing now, basically says, don't take these gases, just pump Zealots, pump Colossus, add Archons, I think he can roll over Cure, depending on how he handles the first move out. I think that's like kind of, because look at his work account, man. 59 probes at 6.5 minutes. He's got extended thermal lance. He'll have +1 charge. 8 gateways will be finished. I mean, that's a good setup. The Widowmine drop can't get back in. He does try to go after Stim. Doesn't quite get it. He could have focused it, actually, but he's going to recall these Stalkers home, which is a good idea. Stalkers do recall out of there. Solid damage. Auto turret comes in. Doesn't find anything. So that Raven so far on 0 kills. Yeah, Stats is just looking rock solid. First Colossus is about to hit the field. He's got to chrono out a second one. Oh, no! Oh, no! He's supply blocked! Oh, perfect macro game up to this point. That is terrible, guys. Getting that second Colossus out is so important. This is a giant army coming across the map. Yeah, there's a third command center building, but dude, you need that second Colossus. Oh, that is a big mistake, man. Oh, Marines just pulled back. All right, Zealot Colossus here. Second Colossus finally starts chrono boosting it. Oh, Zealots are going to run forward. Oh, no interference matrices. Auto turrets go down there. That was actually a good fight for Stats. Guys, even though you look at the units lost, you're like, but he lost 8 Zealots. But he forced the siege up. He slowed him down. Oh, Q is going to do the slow push. He's just going to deny a gas. Oh, that's such a good push. But it doesn't really do much. So if you just pull probes off that gas, take these 2 gases immediately, and go for Zealot Archon now. I think you can still roll this. I like the Marauders on the high ground. That's cute. But the Colossus is there. Colossus can outrange the Marauders. He could shuffle that up to here. As long as he doesn't lose the Robo, he'll be just fine. Obviously, Medevac healing is so good. And Marauders just don't take much damage from Colossus. This is ridiculous. Did that Marine just walk in the front? Guys, that Marine just walked in the front of the base. That was actually hilarious. Saves the other Marines as well. Third command center is going out. He's going to go for a Ghost Academy here. Viking production started. 7 medevacs, more than enough. Double drop in the south side. If he could deny this base, that'd be good, but there's Stalker Zealots there. He uses the boost on the way in. Not a good idea, guys. You always want to save boost for the way out. Boosting in is what madmen do. That's what Beyond does, and it's going to punish Kua big time. He's going to lose that whole double drop. Stats shuts it down. I gotta say, even though you lose a gas, do you really lose anything important? No. But Stats a little too slow to take the extra gas. That does weaken his gas and tech income. He's also still sitting on 59 workers, which is a lower income than I thought. The moment that Kua took a kind of very passive push position, more of a I'm going to deny a gas than anything else, I thought Stats would probe up, drop double gas, and really macro up hard. I mean, yeah, he's got the second forge, he's adding a second robo. I just thought he'd be a little more economically focused, whereas he instead is focused on a huge mass zealot army with 2 Colossus behind it. First robo sitting idle right now. That's a little unfortunate. Stats is trying to probe up, but I do feel like his macro is not as picture perfect as it maybe could be. Big thanks Moidster, Cambam, and Lion Sketchbook for the subs. Lion Sketchbook for the subs there. Thank you guys. No second starport yet. He's going double upgrades and a 4th command center first. Kua setting himself up for a longer game. Probably a good idea against Stats, who does tend to sit on a lower probe count and mass zealots a lot. This is not unusual for him. He's going to 12 gates, a 5th base. Double disruptor productions on the way as well. Breaking the rocks, not a bad idea to open this map up a little bit. Chat was suggesting J-Suit, a Masters Terran in the chat. It's very good Terran. I really enjoy his additions into it, chat. Said, I feel like when you get supply blocked with a Colossus before, you just kill 3 of your own Zealots just to start the next Colossus. I'm kind of with you and I'm kind of not. I'm like, man, killing 3 Zealots feels bad. 300 minerals down the drain, you know? But on the other hand, that Colossus is so important. At least, luckily, it wasn't a stiff push, so it didn't end up mattering too much this game. But I don't know, man. It's hard to make that call. I definitely wouldn't say you're completely wrong. I'm not sure if you're completely right either. It seems like it's more of a decision thing. Could kill 2 Zealots and build a Disruptor. That's not a bad way of doing it. Maybe kill a few probes. It depends. I think if you're really worried about the push, you kill a few probes. If you're kind of chill, you just accept that it's going to be a bit delayed. You're like, yeah, this game's going to go long enough, it won't matter. 3rd attack upgrades on the way. No +2 armor just yet. Guys, 4 more gateways. He's going to 16 gates. Dude, this is what Stats does so well. He masses gateways. I swear, no one else, after Raynor stopped playing Protoss, it's like everyone forgot how to mass gateways because he stopped doing it. And now Stats is like the one guy's like, guys, you realize if I can warp in 16 Zealots during a fight, I just win by having more stuff, right? Oh, the mass Zealot counterattack is kind of crazy. I don't know about this. Oh, the Disruptors. Oh! Okay, gets 3 Marauders, but the Zealots are going to get trapped. That's a problem. Zealots on the top side will finally get cleaned up. These Zealots unable to get in. I like the recall. Recall was a good call. I like the way he did that, where he tried to pull the army into his Disruptor shots, sacrificed all of his expendable units, and then he said, you know what, actually I'll save a few of those. He's only lost Zealots this game, a few Stalkers, a couple of Observers, not much else. Disruptor shot zoning, does get the Siege tank hit. Another Disruptor shot goes out, not going to get anything. Got to be careful of those tanks there, man. Ooh. Okay, 6th base in the top coming up. Double Disruptor on the way. 4 more gateways. He's going to 20 gates. Dude, Stats. 75 probes, 20 gates. My lord. This man is a freak. He's going to have so much Zealot Stalker. People are like, Zealot Stalker's not good units. Stats is like, what if I 1 billion of them? Oh, the Disruptor shot barely doesn't go down. That one goes down, though. And another Disruptor, unfortunately, rallies to its death. Starts overcommitting there. He does have a good amount of Zealot Warpins, but that Disruptor not quite able to fight. He needs Stalkers here. Without any Stalkers, just Zealots, especially with the anti-armor missile. He's actually starting to lose these fights. Double Disruptor shots are coming out, though. 2 more Disruptors on the way behind this. Stats lost those fights pretty badly. Really nice engagements by Kua, and that is looking fantastic. Ooh, I would want at least 90 or 85 probes with 20 gates. That would be my instinct as well. Stats really values having a big army supply, though, and I think he's correct for doing so, but it means if you lose a fight like that last one, it is hard to recover. But that being said, the bio is overstimmed. That Disruptor shot is big, gets a Ghost at a Viking. Oh, he's got to be careful. Oh, he's overcommitting. I think he's overcommitting now. Disruptor shot on the left side does get only a single Marine. Widowmine's burrowing on his face, and as I said, he should have pulled back there. You got to do a lot of the back and forth. You have to make the Terran overstim. That's part of what makes the Zealots useful, is their expendability and their mobility. As that Disruptor shot lands a big hit on the Marine Marauder behind the tall grass. That was unfortunate. Kua was doing so well in the fights up until that one. Now he has to back away. Can't afford to fight the Zealot Stalkers and the Disruptors at the same time. Stalkers do take out a few of those ghosts. Top base is there as well. There's always a fine line, guys. If you go too high on workers, you can't make unlimited amounts of... you can make unlimited units, but you're so low on army supply, you just get overwhelmed in the fights that you're kind of forced to do more backstabs and counterattack stats. The way he does this is he tries to get the Terran army stimmed, and he tries to kind of go back and forth with it over many, many minutes and pick off medevacs and ghosts with his stalkers over and over again. So this is one of the best ways you can do it. Is kind of like, it's a special style he does better than most players out there, where it's back and forth, it's you got to stim, you got to move, you got to stim, Disruptor shots are landing. If he could mix in a few more Zealot run-bys, that would be nice. A Warp Prism in the main would be great. He agrees. Warp Prism starts up. Guys, he forgot his armor upgrades. Stats has been staring at the middle of the map this whole time. All he's been doing is moving probes around. Just transferring probes and taking new Nexus and microing the front. Guys, you can't be sitting on +1 armor with a Mass Gateway style. 3/3's going to kick in. This is a huge oversight and very unlike Stats. He's playing this like an all-in, and that just doesn't make sense for a guy who's going to 7 bases. He will be able to take out the command center, which is good. Disruptors need to be very patient. You don't want to throw these shots out too early, just one at a time. That second shot's too early. That's too early. That one's a good shot. Oh my god, it's a massive shot. That one's good as well. But the Disruptors are getting caught out in the open. Yeah, he kills the planetary, but he's going to lose most of his army, isn't he? The right side, those Disruptors trying to escape. Stalkers need to blink away. The Zealots are gone. The Stalkers need to blink out now. You've got to get out of here, Stats. Stats trying to warp in on that right side. Luckily, he has 19 Zealots warping in. What in the hell? Colossus trying to build right now. Colossus will add so much to this. This is absolutely insane. Marine Marauder, Bio, Ghost Liberator trying to gather up right now. The Stalker Zealot's going to go forward. The Zealots taking the few Widow Mines to the face, but it's only on a few of the Zealots. Very good splitting. Warp Prism on the front line. It'd be much better if that was in the back right now. If you could do a 20 Zealot warp in on Cua's production, he might just win this game. Disruptor shot lands in a big way. Cua's spread's not quite able to keep up with the pace that Stats is setting. Stats will force you to play at an insane pace. Another 12 Zealots and 7 Stalkers warping on the right side. Stats is out of money, but my god, he's got 22 army supply advantage. The Prism does fly in and die, but it's go time. The Libs will get taken out here very quickly by the Stalker split fire. The Medevacs as well. Look at the way he's focusing the Medevacs. If he can blink forward and focus a few more, the Stalkers are still focus firing the Medevacs. The Medevacs are dropping like flies. Cua, he just lost 4 or 5 Medevacs. 6 Medevacs about to go down. Make it 7. And if you disengage now as Stats, you might be okay, but he left his Disruptors hanging out a little. Has to throw a Disruptor shot to cover himself, but he does get out, and that's it. I think he's got the game now, because Cua lost his 4th, which means this 5th base is just a replacement 4th. The upgrades still suck. He's still not fixing that. But with 3 Colossus out, and with you're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases, just transfer workers to the bottom. As long as he keeps up that 75 worker mining, his income is so much higher now, and I just don't think Cua can recover. He doesn't have any Vikings out. He's only got 2 Libs. He never got a second starport in this game. He does have a second starport, actually, but he never got Lib range, even though he has +2 ship weapons. The Bio trying to pull back, but look at those Marines get minced by those Colossus. The Disruptor shots forcing the Marauders back. Zealots coming forward. The Libs disappearing, and Stats. Who needs +2 armor when you have 20 gateways of production? This man is an absolute savage. Stats takes game 1 in the winner's match. All right, the Stats special Mass Gateway, double Robo style. Very heavy on the minerals. He's not that heavy on the gas because he's just so Zealot heavy the whole time. And everyone talks about Zealots being garbage. Play against this style that Stats does, and he very well may change your mind. Cura in the top left. He did pretty well in that game. Felt like it was pretty back and forth. Some people in chat pointed out they were surprised he didn't harass at all. And I think it's just he kind of had a lot of respect for Stats' map vision. The Mass Gateway warp-in capability to just warp in tons of units to defend, as well as, of course, the recall capabilities. I think also he's kind of like, dude, Stats is going to try and just overwhelm me. So I want to have my whole army together, so I always have enough to like gun down all the Zealots and just micro backwards. So if you're ever caught outnumbered too much by Zealot Stalker, because it's such a fast composition, it can swarm over you. That's something that I think Cure was a little wary of there. I do think the armor upgrades could have been game changers. They may have allowed stats to just roll over him. Hopefully he does remember that this time around. Felt like he was in the late game and he was like, you know, I'm in the late game. I think I've done all the things I need to do. I've got double Robo Disruptor. I just need to warp in units and take good fights. And we saw like that fight where the Stalkers blinked forward and started picking off Ghosts and Medivacs on the retreat. That's the situation you never want to end up in as a Terran. Because once you start losing your Medivacs like that, it's a slippery slope. Now notice he delays the Marine to start the command center, which is very safe. However, this is Nexus before Cybercore, guys. So it's a nice greedy build for stats. All he's done is look around here with this probe now. He's going to wait for the Reaper or Marine to come out and then he'll poke in for a scout. Maybe even go for a proxy. Stats playing a bit of a greedy build so far, getting away with it. Quick factory into reactor coming down for Cure. And he's got the second gas building as well. Now that's interesting that he's rallied. Oh, he's going to go for the depot, right? Yeah. Always good to get that depot started nice and early. Make sure you don't get supply blocked. So that should time out pretty much perfectly. Look at the way he's timed this out, guys. This SCV starts. He's at 23 out of 23, but he's not losing any production time. And then just as this depot finishes, it's going to be right around the time that SCV pops out. So he's maybe going to miss like 2 or 3 seconds of SCV production, but pretty darn close. Slight supply block, and the depot finishes, and the SCVs restart. Probe will go down, the Marine trapping him in there. The SCVs drill him to death. Now, you know it's going to be a reacted factory. The question is Cyclones, Hellions, or who knows, maybe he left the factory separate and he's just building Widow Mines. We, of course, know that it's Hellions into a starport. Seems to me that Stats is done with not being considered the best Protoss on the planet. Well, I agree. I think he's fantastic. And people saying, well, MaxPax is too good. Yeah, I think it'll take him a long time to beat MaxPax consistently in PvP. Maybe Hero as well. Hero's pretty hard to beat in PvP, though I think Stats can probably beat him already with just a little bit more experience. The thing is, MaxPax ain't going to LAN anytime soon. So honestly, to be the best Protoss in the world, you just need to show up at that LAN tournament, right? MaxPax ain't going to those LANs. So he's not really a contender for anything other than best online player because he just doesn't play the most important tournaments. So as good as MaxPax looks against the best players in the world, Stats has a chance to, over in Dallas, establish himself. I'm not sure. I think there's like an open bracket type setup, so I'm not sure exactly who's signed up for that. Who's making it through to Dallas and who's going to not take the risk of flying over there. Should be very exciting though. 4 Widowmine drop is always a fun one. So I think is he going to do the divey dive through the middle? Looks like it. Cure's maybe going to find this probe. Yep, that's always good. Probe does not see the medevac coming. Stalkers get lured out front. Medevac's just going to go straight over. And look at that. Goes to the right of those Stalkers. Good choice. Drops 2 Widow Mines in and around. Oh, all of them in the mineral line. Nice. Okay. The good thing about having so many Widow Mines is you can use some of them waiting to fire to cover the other one's retreat. Surprised he's not saving those, though. Oh, I thought he might try to save 1 or 2 of them, but nope, doesn't want to take the risk. He knows Blink could be done, so he's just kind of like, yeah, nah, not a good idea. Oh, he's going to hide in the dead space, is he? Okay, so he wants to hide this medevac here so it can threaten both bases. Not a bad play. Behind this, second barracks is down. The third barracks will start there, so he's going to go into those tech labs. And seeing no threat of a counterattack because there's a third nexus, notice how he's not building tanks. So Cure, even though he always goes for the Widow Mine drop into the tank Raven, he says, oh, you're playing a greedy third base, so I'm just going to go straight into stim, shields, medevacs, Widow Mines, use my Raven to harass. While the Raven harasses in the main, I might drop a Widow Mine or 2 in the third base and then go back to my little corner to hide. This is a really good way to start off. Why doesn't MaxPax go to lands? He hasn't really said, guys. It's just something that a lot of people theorize about, but most people just say social anxiety or something like that. Probably just, you know, is not a very public person. It's not very normal to see someone, you know, get to such an extreme skill level, but I think he'll hopefully come out at some point. Might be a few years away, though. Maybe in the next big RTS, we'll see. Guys, that's a lot of damage. 4 probes. Oh, I can't believe he hit that last one. It was all the way over there. Looks like the Hellion comes in. 6 probes in total there. 12 probes in total with that 6th addition. Widowmine drop comes in as well. Blink is ready, so this shouldn't really do any damage. Oh, Hellion came back in for the distraction, but easy dodges for Stats. Oh, nice changing of targets. Dude, that was slick. Cure managed to get a Stalker and a Probe. Nice fiddling with those units to get some more damage. And notice this is not an all-in. A lot of players stop at 40 workers, really go for the all-in. Cure's overbuilt workers. He's going to build his third as he goes for the push, start steering around, looking to catch stats out of position. And I got to say, on this map, as good as stats setup is, it's a long distance from here all the way down into this corner of the main. And with Cure's setup, he can drop half his army here, stim half his army in the third, and that is very hard to split your army correctly as a Protoss to defend that, because he doesn't even have one Colossus out. It's about to pop his first one, but yeah. Cure's, I don't know why he's... Oh, he doesn't have stim. I was like, why is he running back? I thought he should just keep running forward to really scare the heebie-jeebies out of stats there. Shield of Ire held up very well in game one. But look at this, guys. He's building mass battery. It's not ready just yet. His second Colossus, it feels like it's a little late. Dude, he's got so little damage in this army. Like, what's he got? He's got nothing in the main. Oh, auto turrets just came in. Sorry, Raven just came in. Kills a Stalker, gets 2 probes. So that Raven's done good damage. Now he's going to follow up with a Widow Mine drop. There's only 1 Stalker to defend it. And Q is just chilling. He's like, it's fine. Third command center is almost finished. I'm at even workers. This is the power of Q's very stable play. You never know if he's going to commit to the push and kill the Protoss or if he's just going to chill. Like, because he just kind of does a very balanced middle-of-the-road approach. But he could dive in if he senses that you're weak, or he could just take his time with it. Widow Mine drop absolutely should get out of here, but oh, he's going to lose it. That's a bummer. Oh, Bio on the high ground denying the 4th base attempt. Stalker, Colossus, Zealot going to try to move over. It's only 2 Zealots, though. Stas needs to get out of here. Get out, force fields. Oh, God, force fields. Oh, no. He panicked and accidentally hit Guardian Shield a second time. You could tell he was trying to force field there. Stats tabs to the wrong units in panic and messes up his micro. Losing a Colossus is massive. He's down to 1 Colossus. A third one, which is now going to replace the second one, is starting. Stalkers in the main cannot stop that. Oh, gosh. No battery in the main. No backup reinforcements. And this is what I was talking about. Cure is on 66 workers. He has a third base. He's going for Ghost Academy behind it. And he just rolls over stats. That spread on the bases, it's hard to cover all that ground as the Protoss. GG, well played. Cure ties up the series. All right. Pretty good Widow Mine fancy harassment in that game for Cure. Keeps up the pressure, and Stats does crumble underneath it. Stats now in the top right of Alcyon, and Cure in the bottom left. Part of me just feels like Stats is going to win. I don't know why. I do not know why. Even though I said earlier today, I really think Cure can take Stats down. I think he has such a well-rounded style of TVP, where it's very hard for the Protoss to figure out if they should be greedy or turtley, like which way should they go, because Q is so middle of the road, and it's just if he sees an opportunity, he'll punish you for being out of position just a little bit. But it's hard to figure out who's going to win. I think it's a very even match. But if US Stats can conquer Q, get first place in Group C, it would be massive. Of course, who's waiting in the losers match again? It's Rogue and Dark. Oh, damn! For those who don't remember, before Rogue went to the military, these guys played so many ZVZs. And they every single series had a draw. It was always a draw. Dark would always like all in him. Rogue would have a genius response, would be way ahead, but would mess up on the micro, would panic a little bit, and then it would like turn into a draw game. And I remember they had a 5-game best of 3 I cast a few years ago. A 5-game best of 3, guys. I kid you not. It was in GSL as well, I'm pretty sure. Was it GSL? Maybe it was some big tournament. But yeah, they had a lot of series like that, so that's going to be exciting. Loser of this match has to play Rogue or Dark. Yeah, you don't want to lose this match. You do not want to play against one of those two. Winning this match is so important. Hello. Pylon there to block the Reaper jump up point. Sneaky little spot for a Stargate. I like it. Pylon does get spotted there, but they don't usually put the tech up, so he's kind of saying, look, people can always scout it on the high ground, but it's actually harder or less likely for them to scout on the left. I like the way the Adept Shade was waiting for him to run up the cliff. Very conservative play for Stats, just really being safe. Cyclone, though, Q knows it's Stargate. How does he know it's Stargate, guys? Or is it just because every Protoss opens Stargate on this map? That's interesting. I mean, Cyclone's not a bad opening versus Twilight. It's just much better versus Stargate. It's very good. Dark's too good for best of 3s. He has to change them to best of 5s. Yeah, whenever you have a draw, you just regame the same map, for anyone who's confused about that, by the way. Okay, sees the Phoenix. Nice. So defensive Phoenix play. Now, I've been wanting to see a lot more Phoenix Zealot, but it looks like a Robo. The quick third gas. Big sign of the Phoenix Colossus play. So very turtley style. And we've got a second Cyclone on the way. Looks like Kua wants to keep him off a third base for a long time. Maybe even commit to a straight up frontal attack. How do you draw? So there's situations where, like, if you base trade, so it's like basically Dark would do like a 12 pool drone pool, kill all the buildings, but then you'd have like a spine crawler. He'd have like spine crawlers on creep that you can't kill, but he can't go across to your side of the map and beat your Zerg. He has like less Zerglings than drones, so he can't go off creep to kill your extractor or whatever that you've built on his side of the map. But he also can't, you know, you can't, like, Rogue can't kill Dark spines. Dark can't kill his drones and Zerglings because he's outnumbered. Neither of you's mining. Neither of you has a hatchery because you both killed each other's bases. So you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And, like, literally the draw timer activates, which is built in automatically into StarCraft. Sometimes you agree to a draw as well if you don't want to wait for that to eventualize. I do like this angle, guys. This is actually, I always look at this push and I go, what are you doing? And then I remember, if they build the gate in the core there, it's super worth it. Oh, he unburrows it at the last second. Dude, the Viking! The Viking comes in at the perfect time. The Cyclones and the Vikings kill one of the Phoenix. You just don't want to fight in battery overcharge range. If you get lifted up in range of battery overcharge, that's where Stats is going to ruin you. But if you can just pick off buildings from the low ground, make him panic, that's going to be good. But as the Immortal comes out, Stats has the better army now. I think that Immortal will ruin you. Careful, Kua, get out of here. The Immortal's here. The Immortal's a big problem. It's a big problem, man. Cyclone's doing some good damage to the Phoenix. The Adepts and Zealot are tanking really well. Oh, this is really bad. The Vikings will kill the Phoenix at least. Oh, we didn't get to save any of the Cyclones, though. That's the problem. If he could have saved the Cyclones with the medevac, this would be a different story. But as it is, oh no! The Viking needs to kill that Phoenix. He doesn't quite get it. That Phoenix surviving is massive, guys. As long as he gets that out of there. Oh, Kua picks it up and target fires it. That was slick. Getting that Phoenix at the end of that fight was really cool. At the end of the day, though, third command center is only halfway done. And the third Nexus, yeah, it's behind for Stats. But one must only look at the units lost tab to know that that was a better trade for Stats. Yes, he's lost a lot of his air control, but he'll keep building Phoenix, keep building Observers, Robobait, Forge, and Twilight are on the way. So he's actually probably going to stop. I don't think he builds another Phoenix after this. If he does, it'll only be one more. The reason for this, guys, is he's gone Twilight Forge. You do not, after losing a lot of Phoenix, usually rebuild them, because it's better to just transition into Blink, ground units, and those standard things. You don't have enough money to build Colossus, ground upgrades, charge, blink, stalkers, sentries. So you kind of have to choose one way or the other, which is why normally when you open Phoenix Colossus, you're just on Phoenix Colossus and your Twilight and Forge is so late. But after that successful fight, Stats is pivoting back to the ground style that he knows and loves. This is the more solid style, a bit more mobile on the map, some would say. But we'll see how it plays out. As double engineering bay is already up, Q is going to go for the double upgrade, massive 3-base economy play. He's transferring to gases right now. And his 4th and 5th barracks are starting. So he's building tanks and Vikings. Tanks to defend Colossus Immortals. Vikings to defend the Phoenix count. And indeed a 4th Phoenix did build. So he's got 4 Phoenix, guys. But that will be where he stops it. If we see another Phoenix this game, it's probably only if he loses all his Phoenix and there's a drop in the dead space. That's the only real reason why you'd use that until late game. Okay, Adept's pulling back. We've got 2 more gateways building. Stats is still pretty low on production, remember. Phoenix going to pick off a bunch of SCVs. 6 SCVs, that's great damage. Kua right now is pressuring with, I don't know what you guys call this, a flaccid of Terran units. I feel like I need a really old-fashioned saying. Diddly squat? Piddly peas? That was not like a real army. And it was trying to scare Stats, but Stats is like, eh. Oh! Guys, he's going 2nd Stargate Fleet Beacon. He's going to rush to either Carriers or Tempests. Wow. Okay, very cool. I know Probe, who's appeared in the chat right now, has a guide on a style kind of similar to this. There's a bit of a different opening. But the old 2 Stargate single Robo, Skytoss Robo build-up style, he has a guide from many years ago about this, which is a really good one. If you guys want to learn this style of PvT, go check out his YouTube. Ooh, ouch. Very turtley style of Protoss, but that matches stats. Kua is still building tanks and Vikings. He's sieging up on the front. If he brings a few SCVs and builds turrets out here, this can be very effective against this style. Okay, we've got an armory going up. 2-2 is delayed because that armory wasn't on time. Vikings are poking forward, realizing he does have the air superiority. Does he bring SCVs? No. Yeah, I think pulling back's a good move. He's looking for observers right now, but the only observer out here for Stats is over on that side. Stats is thinking about getting some pylons to make sure he doesn't get blocked or doesn't get stuck, sorry, on 4 bases and doesn't get dropped in the back. 2 Tempest building. So he's going to go for Tempest, which can chip away at the Vikings and tanks from afar. It's actually a genius way of dealing with this. I think he knew that Kua likes to do a big mass tank Viking push to try to take out this style. Look at that, he even finds a siege tank already. Zealot run by, and he should just run away. Concussive shells only now starting. Kua realizing, ah, damn, I don't have concussive. Good thing he catches that. Ghost Academy coming up. 2-2 has not started. It seems still like a pretty mixed style for Kua, right? Like he's going double upgrades and Vikings and tanks and bio. He's on 75 workers on 3 base. That's something we could be a little critical of. Look how oversaturated he is. He should really be building like a 4th base would massively boost his position. And I don't think he knows about the Carrier Tempest coming in yet. 4th base is up for Stats. 6 gas style for him. No gases on the 4th. 2nd starport does go down for Kua. I'm going to watch this from Kua's vision for a minute, guys, because I really don't think he knows about those air units, and I'm curious how he reacts when those first Tempest shots come out. A lot of Terrans will panic and stim into it and get wrecked. Other times they'll pull back and split their army and drop. He scans it. He sees Tempests. You do not want to hang out on the edge of the Protoss territory against Tempest unless you really have faith in your Viking count. Guys, he's just going to push into it. He does have 12 Vikings. They can probably one-shot a Tempest, maybe two-shot. Does depower one of the Stargates, which is kind of nice. Hello. Oh, not quite enough to one-shot that Tempest, though. He's going too deep. He's going too deep, guys. I think he got a Tempest, but he loses a few Vikings for it. That's something you got to be careful about. Stargate does go down. New Stargate's building behind it. Mama's on the way, as well as extra carriers building. No +2 ship weapons is a huge problem. If Stats doesn't get that +2 ship weapons, his air units won't be as powerful. That being said, he catches him out in the open a little bit. Kua's not ready to fight. Kua's going to pull back. He's still... 4th command center's up. Kua can float that bad boy out. He's going to have to abandon the middle of the map temporarily. Nice EMP. Does take out one of the Phoenixes. Link's on the way. 3rd Stargate? Is that? Or is that just 2nd? No, just still 2 Stargate. No air weapons, though, guys. Guys, +2 air weapons is so important. He's going to go Storm. Storm is also incredibly essential when you play Skytoss. If you don't have Storm in late game, you are screwed in this matchup. Anyone who says otherwise is lying to you. They out there lying to you. Storm is so important because a Storm on the Vikings can completely change the air battle. Even if you just get a few ticks, you get 30-40 damage across those fragile 135 hit point Vikings, they start to drop like flies. And that's what the fight's all about. Can the Vikings overwhelm the Colossus, the Carriers, the Tempest, the Mothership? Right now, the number says no. It's only 15 Vikings. There's not that much Tempest Carrier, but the Colossus in there as well, the Stalkers. Storm's not ready, though. Storm's not ready. Zealot run by comes in for Stats. Kua seems to have outpositioned him, though. Oh, here we go. Big fight incoming. Storm's not ready, remember. Oh, if he had Storm, this might be different. Cloak comes in from Mama. Time Warp goes down. The Vikings are just fighting against whatever they can right now. Looks like they tried to go for Mama. He's going to back out, though. Time Warp is so powerful. He actually sits in Time Warp. Stats doesn't seem to have enough damage on the ground. His Colossus are going down. Scans are good. The Zealots do start to come forward. Psystorm's finally finished. 17 workers do go down behind this planetary. Finally cleans all those bad boys up. Stats does lose very similar units to Kua. Both sides are on similar base count. If he can kill this base and get out, I think Kua's in a good spot because he's got a 5th command center almost finished. His 3-3's on the way. +2 ship weapons is not even halfway done. Stats has to split his upgrades and his tech in many different directions. Meanwhile, well, to be fair, Kua does need +2 ship weapons of his own, but I feel like it's not as important as it is for those carriers, for instance. 5th base goes down. Stats is going to have to rebuild that unless he wants to go for the counter-attack. He's got a Warp Prism and 2 more Tempest building. It feels like he might be thinking about that. He's sending 1 probe out to the left, getting ready to potentially take the Nexus. But as these 2 carriers pop and the Prism comes, he might just shove. Oh, here we go. Three more Vikings being built. 5 at a time now. It is 3 Starport Viking. 3/3 plus 2 ship weapons. Not done yet for the Terran, meanwhile. Plus 2 ship weapons, plus 3 ground attack. Almost done for Stats. Stats army is fragile. It's about as fragile as they come. His High Templar are a little clumped right now. I'd like to see him leave a High Templar there. Leave a High Templar there. He has no reserve splash damage, which means if he gets all of his High Templar EMP'd and loses this fight, there is no retreat. He'll get run down by the Terran. This is it. It's all or nothing. Stats is not rebuilding a 5th base. He's going for it right now. Big push coming in. Time Warp goes down. EMPs have been very good so far. There's still a few ghosts. He needs to storm these High Templar. He's not able to land the EMPs. Oh, big storm on the Vikings. Those Vikings just got hammered, but the next High Templar does get gunned down by the Marine Marauder. I'm not sure who's winning this fight. Is it enough Vikings to beat the carriers? That is the question. The answer is, I don't think so. No, there's no interceptors left. Very few interceptors. The Marines have killed most of the interceptors, which means there's a Tempest, a few Stalkers. Stats is up in supply. Right now, maybe that means it's enough to overwhelm, but if he pulls back, Kua might be able to stabilize. He's losing Marines, Marauders. The Stalkers coming in is actually huge. 10-gate Stalker finding big damage on this 3rd base. Kua's just way too far behind in supply, and it seems like the carrier is rebuilding interceptors on the front lines. It's kind of like a front-of-the-line reinforcement. Stats' choice to not rebuild his Nexus or his probes and just go for a big counterattack was actually excellent. Stats showing how to push carriers, Stalkers, Zealots. Psystorm, one big storm on those Vikings, did end up being a bit of a game changer. And it made a big difference. If it wasn't for that single Psystorm on the Vikings, maybe Kua could have held on. Kua's at even army supply, his ground army wrecks. The question is, does he have enough air for Vikings? He's not got many medevacs, he's got to be very careful about stimming. And the Zealot Archon actually in of its own is incredibly scary. Archons against not that many EMPs, very tanky unit, and their splash damage is frightening. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Stalker's looking for pickoffs. Good blink back micro stats. Gets another Marauder and baits another EMP. Baiting these EMPs so they don't land on the Archons is huge. There's only about 2 or 3. Oh, actually, he's got a bunch more ghosts coming out. About 5 EMPs are available now. That'll be good on the Archons. Kua pushes him back. Stats is trying to bait him into the open. There's still a full base there and a full base there mining. If Stats sent a single Zealot to the south, he could deny this base. But he is tunnel visioning on the front right now. Will that cost him this game? I don't think so. He's transferring probes to the left. He's building more workers. He's going to go for a giant attack. Zealot, Archon, Stalker, Colossus. EMPs land on a few of these Archons. Vikings take out the carriers. Is the bio going to hold on? I think it might. I don't know, man. It's so close. The Stalkers will start to crumble. I think Kua wins this fight. Can he counterattack and win the game? That's kind of the question now. Zealots warping in. Prism does go down. Uh-oh, Stats, get out of here. Stats, get out of here, mate. He knows this army's going to go down. All he can save is 2 Stalkers. Stats, warping in Zealots, trying to make a Colossus, trying to rebuild. Kua on 48 workers. This base down here may be his saving grace. Dude, the fact that Stats didn't scout for that is huge. He should have sent a Zealot down there, and it could have done so much damage. Stats still has the better income, but he's attacking into a Kua that's kind of all in. Stats is attacking like a mad dog. I don't know if this is the right call. I feel like it's a very bad call. But he attacks in and leaves. That's such an early leave. I know he's in a very bad position, guys. Don't get me wrong, because he doesn't have any good upgrades. 3/3 is done for the Terran ground, so you can kind of see why he's trying to force the issue. But for me, I see a Protoss on 5 base versus a Terran who's on 2 mining bases there and there. Like, yeah, he's floating this one over, but like, he's just not got that much mining. But I really feel like he could have started armor upgrades and tried to do maybe some Zealot run-bys, remake some High Templar for Storm. You know, I don't know. It feels like he left this game a little bit early, in my opinion, as well as just in general choosing to fight here seemed a little bit desperate. Unfortunate. I think also split a Zealot to the south. He really had Kua contained, and if he used that contain to kind of transition a little more, maybe if he also put like a Stalker or something to pick off some mining SCVs up there, feels like he could have got a little more done. But Kua fights back, and in a group where, what did I say at the start? I think he's probably the least favorite, the favorite to go last place in the group. Kua says, Pig, you're an idiot. Mate, I might not have the flair of some of these guys, but I'm an 8 out of 8 across, 8 out of 10 across the board at every single skill, and he does end up getting first place in the group. GG. All right. What the hell is going on, everybody, and welcome back. It is now the losers match, and Rogue is in the top right. Dark is in the bottom left. And it's post-youth. A map where if you're a risky boy, if you're a bit of a mad dog, you can go out and take a gold base. But that would be very hard to defend in this matchup. So far, both players just droning on up. You do get an interior base, very easy to defend with 3 gold minerals. And then you can wall off your ramp with queens. However, getting down from there to a third base is quite hard. Does look like both players are going for the safe expansion for now, though. That does make sense. I think safe expansion's the way to go. It's just so safe, and you get some gold minerals. Like, what's not to love? That being said, does one player try something weird like a gasless, you know, just wall off with 2 queens, get 2 more queens out, inject, drone, drone, drone? Or do we just see the standard gas into pool? Gas for Rogue, gas for Dark. Identical openings so far. Spawning pool in the back for Rogue, and likewise for Dark over here. Remember what I was talking about just before? These guys have a lot of draws. They have so many draws. They have so many crazy games where Dark just like 12 pool drone pools and just goes for it. Dark's a little more clutch with the micro. Rogue generally, I would say, is a little bit more cerebral with his planning. Dark kind of just smells that something might work and goes for it. Rogue's more of a planner, very technical, and sometimes he wins in that planning stage. A lot of the time in StarCraft, he wins in the planning stage, let's be honest. Sometimes we call Rogue the hype killer because he does take away the excitement when he gets to a big finals because he destroys his opponent so one-sidedly, it doesn't really feel like a back and forth match. It feels like the other guy isn't good. And that's not always what you're looking for in a grand finals, is it? Interestingly, only 3 workers on the gold mineral straight away. Dark only 2. Both players not optimizing those gold minerals at all. Something I've been kind of getting used to seeing. It's not the end of the world, but just a slight optimization that could be done. Rogue is not making link speed. He's going to play the wall-off version. So he's going to go for a quick lair after these queens and build up towards a roach horn. All right, Ling's coming forward as well. Second gas? What is he Nidusing? It's a Nidus all-in from Rogue. Rogue is going for a Nidus all-in, guys. His lair starts. His queens will block the ramp. It's going to be Nidus Roach. His queens are still not blocking that ramp. That queen still is kind of off position, but I don't think a Link can squeeze past on the left. Dark's just trying to get vision to see if he's mining open the wall. Link speed. Wait, what? Oh, is he playing 2-base Muta? Oh, I think this might be 2-base Mutalisk. Old school, baby. Okay, so Rogue was doing 2-base Muta when everyone else thought it was no longer good. I think 2-base Muta is surprisingly okay. The big problem I've seen from Rogue historically is that he will overcommit way too hard sometimes to just massing Mutalisks. Like, if he falls behind, he always tries to come back by just massing Mutalisks and doing nothing else. Problem with doing that style is it makes him a bit of a one-trick pony. So if he does find himself, you know, Dark's got 3 bases full, you're just on mutas, Rogue almost always just holds the muta key down. Actually, sorry. If he gets hit by a big attack that kills his third, basically, that's when you expect that. Wait, what? What? Dark's also playing Mutalisk, but he's got a third hatchery as well. So Dark is expecting Rogue to have skipped Ling Speed, and actually, he's got an even later Ling Speed himself. He'd end up cancelling his Ling Speed, making a quick lair. They've both got Spire at the same time. Rogue's going to Ling Flood, though. And I think Rogue, if he can cancel that third, take his own third behind it, or kill the third, I should say, because that can't get cancelled, he could do massive damage. He might just win the game. Dark is only now starting Zerglings. His Ling Speed's still a minute away. Ling Speed's kicking in. Let's go to Dark's vision. This is Dark's camera, guys. He's not looking. Lings are on the minimap. Lings on the minimap. He sees it. He sees it. He's frantically pulling units. He's going to try and wall off. If he puts queens on his ramp, he can just wall off with queens, mate. Oh, he's going to try and full wall because the queens are his only ranged damage. Ah, okay. So he does full wall the ramp there. Problem is, even though you're up 9 workers, getting locked in your main kind of sucks. Rogue, there's no point attacking that ramp. Rogue's got Mutalisk tech as well, but Rogue's third base isn't down. And he's very slow to drone up. Was he supply blocked? Oh, Rogue's really slow to drone here. I actually think Dark's still ahead just because Rogue is going mutas, but so is Dark. And he's just doing it off such a tiny work account. Rogue's build is looking scuffed. He's up a base, but he doesn't actually have an economy advantage. Oh, man. Not even having the money to start a third. And he's building more Lings. What is Rogue doing? Rogue's going all in. I told you guys he likes to go all in with Mutaling when he's behind. I think he realizes he's behind in this game. So he's going to go completely all in. Dude, the Ling of Dark. Look at this. Oh, go to the left. He sees no workers on the left. I don't think Dark was looking, though. I don't think Dark was looking, guys. I'm going to be honest. Both players are going to lose a lot of Overlords here. Not sure who's going to lose more, as both sides do take down one of their opponent's Overlords. Rogue starts a single drone and a couple of Overlords here. But, man, he's like massing Lings. This is bizarre, man. Rogue losing a set to Cure. Definitely didn't look like the Rogue of old there. Now he's playing against Dark, and he's playing some strange craft right now. Rogue was always famous for being hit and miss. Even at the peaks of his career, he would win the biggest tournament in the world and get knocked out in the first round of the next season. It would not be uncharacteristic for Rogue to just get destroyed here. That being said, I am confused at what his goals are. This is not me trying to hate on the player. I just don't understand what he's trying to achieve. If Dark sees no third, which he sees, Dark knows he's getting all in. So Dark sees no third base, and he's just like, whoa, I need to just mass Mutaling and survive. Because he sees Rogue doesn't even have a third started. You can lose your third and still be fine here. Dark just has to be very careful because Rogue's going to have so much more stuff. So many more Zerglings. Building even these gases is a bit too greedy. Dark probably doesn't realize that there's not even workers on those mineral patches. I mean, this is a crazy all-in. Dark sees no third base started still, though. And he's got to realize at this point, okay, he's just playing super weirdo Massling Muta. Guys, Rogue is playing like Mio Micah. I got to be honest. He's playing like Mio Micah right now. Just super committed, completely all in. He's got so many more Lings, it might work out. The Lings can win the Ling fight. The Muta versus Muta, will that matter? The Queens need to wall off. Queens need to wall off. Dark's Queens are in a bad position. They're trying to help in the Muta versus Muta. Remember though, the Lings do help in the Muta versus Muta because they absorb bounce damage. As long as you're fighting above Zerglings, they absorb bounce damage. But microing in and out so that the Queens aren't as big of a part of it. Rogue trying to bat it through. Can he overwhelm? No, he cannot. The Mutalisks win the Muta fight for Dark with those Queens helping out with the focus fire. The Lings do get in, but they've got a lot of work to do. Those drones need to stack up, and Rogue taps out. That was a very poor strategy from Rogue. Dark takes map 1. All right, well, that was a really sloppy strategy for Rogue. I think he felt behind, and then he just, I don't know. He just felt like gunning down on Mutaling. The reason I don't like it is I feel like if you're going to do that strategy, just build 8 more workers, go to 44, 45, take a third, don't drone the third, but just transfer drones to the third to make it look like you're droning it. And you can do a very similar strategy. It's effectively very similar, but it ends up being actually potentially effective. Whereas Dark just kept going, oh, no third, still no third. He let a Ling in his main. He let 2 different Zerglings scout his lack of a third. You need to shut down scouting. You need your Mutalisks to be catching those Zergling scouts and denying scouting to make that sort of strategy work. And he tried to do it with Zerglings alone. It did not work out. Rogue will need to clean things up in the second map to show us that Rogue that we know and love. The Rogue that beat Beyond in the qualifiers. The Rogue that 4-0'd Cyril in 15 minutes back in the online scene in 2021 in TSL. You know, show us that Rogue. So far, hatch gas pool for both sides. I generally feel like if you get the forward momentum and cancel their third like that with the Zerglings, and you force an awkward wall off that they're not intending to use, it generally leads to you getting ahead. I guess this is, it felt like to me things were going very well for Rogue. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of people will be like, oh, but he was down 9 workers. But the thing is, as his Lings were going across the map, he could have already been droning. If you drone up, yeah, you're mining less for 2 minutes. But then your third base is a minute or more faster. You saturate it straight away. Suddenly you're back in the lead. But I think he felt like if he drones a third and takes it, he's like going to be behind in the Mutalisk war. And I guess he wasn't willing to play Mutalisk versus Mutalisk from behind. And I can actually, I can totally commiserate with that. I hate playing Muta versus Muta from behind. You're on the back foot the whole time. It's really hard to deal with their Mutas and Zerglings poking out on all your bases. So I think he was like, no, I want to be the guy who just has a surprising number of units and I catch you off guard. But it was a good pullback to the ramp and a good hold by Dark. The Massling not quite able to bust through. Third base goes down for Dark on 30 supply. Rogue goes for the 32 supply third, which I do prefer this one. Just getting those drones out slightly earlier gives you a little bit more money. That being said, he built 4 Zerglings, whereas Dark only built 2. So Dark actually had a worker advantage for a moment there. Baneling Nest goes down. Nice and safe timing for Dark. Rogue's just a few seconds later. Okay, these Zerglings going to rotate. Nope. Zergling's going to come down for Dark, try and defend. Rogue will back off. So far, injects have been pretty good. We've got new injects immediately go down. And drones on both sides. Rogue's building a couple of Zerglings for safety, whereas Dark is just holding that drone key down. No Fs given, no safety precautions required for Dark. He feels confident after that first game, and fair enough. Third queen building in the main base. Rogue's pulled 2 queens to the natural as his little defensive anchor if this does turn into a Ling Bane War. He's got a few Zerglings, and he should be pressuring with these. He's going to leave 1 safety Baneling at home, and he starts a Roach Warren. Queen's not in position, so he's going to let the scout in. Oh, Creep Tumor Snipe. That was cute. Well done. Actually pulls all the Zerglings home as well. I'm not a big fan of Rogue pulling all of his Lings back. I would have liked him to just get a forward position, try to get some scouting info. Roach Warren goes down for Dark. Everyone builds an early Roach Warren these days. People are very respectful of those early Roach Bane attacks and just how good they are. Ling dancing back into the main. Zergling here, bouncing around. 2 more Overlords are building for Rogue. 1 more for Dark. Rogue's going for it. Rogue's going for it, guys. These are fake drones potentially transferring over. He's only on 2 gas. Lots of Roaches building. But Dark builds a safety Roach, which tells us he might be thinking of stopping here and being safe himself. Dark needs scouting. Dark's Ling gets in. He sees a few drones on the 3rd. He's got 9 drones on his 3rd. That's because Dark did delay his gases, though. That's part of the reason. But seeing less drones on the 3rd, Dark has said, ooh, I better play safe. He's starting his own Roach production. And off a 2 worker advantage, that is pretty much perfect. His Overlord will see the Roaches arriving. And that's going to be big. So check it out. Dark's building an Evo, but he's just got a mass Roaches and Banes. He's building 4 drones after seeing the Roach. Hello, Dark? Maybe it was just as he saw them, he'd queued them up. Okay, he's going to pull back now. I'll stop swapping to player vision because that's confusing because it changes the player colors. And Rogue's faking it? But Rogue's not faking it. Oh, Rogue's doing a double fake out, guys. So Rogue pretends he's faking it and then goes home. And guess what? He's actually still committing. He's just doing an even later Roach timing. This is really clever. This is classic Rogue. So Dark should go back to droning. The only problem is Dark's supply blocked so badly that he can't drone right now. So if this ends up moving out right now, Dark only gets to build a few drones. Dark should be at 60 workers by now. But because of his bad macro, he's actually only at 51. Is he going to get saved by the bell? No way. This is Dark's vision. Dark's vision. Dark's back to Roaches or 55. He's playing safe. He's playing safe. He's playing safe. Even though he doesn't have the scouting, he's just aware of the fact that he's playing Rogue and Rogue's a big cheeser. Rogue is going for a 23 Roach attack. Mass Roach, mass Ling Bane. Dark did build 2 more workers here, which is not great for him. 55 workers, 5 gases. That's a big amount of economy. Canceling gas to build spines. Good idea. Anything to stabilize is going to help you out here as Dark. Dark needs Banelings as well. Banelings to stop this big Ling flood. Rogue's going to try and run Lings into the main. If they could get into the main, that would be good, but he is blocked right now. He's going to move his whole army to the right, actually. Not a bad way to do it. Rogue's going to shove it in. Rogue down 13 workers. He is all in. He needs to break him right here, right now. But the Roach count's very similar on both sides. Baneling's coming through. They get some decent hits on the Roaches, but nothing that huge. He's got to get rid of this last Baneling of Dark. He's got to focus that one Baneling of Dark. If that cleans up his Zerglings, that could be massive. The Roaches of Dark there. That Baneling trying to get to the front line. He gets a big hit. Rogue Zerglings get cleaned. The Spine Crawler's more to the left. Dark has been massing Roaches this whole time. Dark is the guy who was very, very closely matched with Cyril in his series at Katowice, where he established himself as a 2-time IEM Katowice champion. Dark was the only guy that looked like he was anywhere close to Cyril in that tournament. And Dark shows once again that when he's on point, when he's playing a Cyril or a Rogue and he respects his opponent, Dark is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Fantastic play by Dark. Holds on. Even though I said he might get saved by his bad macro, he didn't. It was a conscious decision to stop at 55 drones and make Roaches because he knew any higher than that would be greedy. Now, don't get me wrong. He did take these 2 gases, start 2 more drones after this to replace them. But the fact that he'd stopped at that worker count kept him quite safe. Now, to be fair, Rogue did let his Roaches get seen a little bit at the front, but only a few of them, so I don't think that was a tell. I think this was just Dark really playing a very safe style of StarCraft, and that makes sense against Rogue. Really well played. Unfortunate to see Rogue is not returned to his former glory just yet, but perhaps this will be the loss he needs to give him motivation for the next one. GG, well played, Dark. Alright. It's the final match of Group C. And man, stats in the top left on Amphion. I don't know who this map's good for. I've heard it's good for Protoss. Dark in the bottom left. There's some good Swarmos play and like the Nidus Worm potential. There's a lot of space for Nidus. This map's got so many Nidus positions. But would you really Nidus 3 times in a row? There's something to be said for doing the same build twice in a row for a surprise tactic. And it kind of worked. He caught stats off guard both times before. But let's be honest. At this point, Dark needs to play a much better follow-up. Even if he catches stats off guard. And I don't know. I feel like he's used up a lot of his surprise tactics so far. He's going to go for the hatchery block by the looks of it. The probe does check for the expansion. Dark unable to get the hatchery down. Now, pulling a second probe down and blocking the drone is actually the best maneuver here. Hero does this sometimes, but I think Stats might be thinking that's too much of a gamble. So instead, he's just going to pylon block. Wouldn't it be funny if he pylon blocked both expansions? That would be hilarious. Do it. Be brave. But he doesn't... Yeah, blocking this hatchery is huge. If you bring 2 probes down, you can block it. Oh, he goes with a double pylon, though. Is that even blocking it? It is, eh? Damn. Spawning pool and gas go down reactively there, which is fair enough. Zealot's getting chrono boosted. He will let this pylon finish. That one should cancel. You shouldn't let both. What are we doing, Stats? Stats is trolling him hardcore. Stats is like, I don't care. You're not letting me expand. I'm not letting you expand. I don't know if this is good for Stats or good for Dark. Generally, instincts say it's good for Dark because Dark likes chaos. Stats is obviously better in a cleaner game. On the other hand, not being able to get an expansion up does suck. And guys, it takes 4 worker trips to mine this open. What are you going to do? Send 3 more workers down there and mine? It's going to take you forever to get down there. Hatchery does get cancelled. He's got 600 minerals. He should have sent a drone out. Honestly, in this scenario, I build a macro hatchery here, and it's actually really good. Dark seems to have not played against this in a long time because he's floating 700 minerals. This is very low-tier macro for Dark. Dark, you have to spend your money, mate. What are we doing? You've got 600 minerals in the bank. His queen, so late to start. He's finally going to get a hatchery on the left. This is a slow reaction. I do not like Dark's reaction. He should not be microing a drone when he's making fundamental errors like this. This used to be something we played against a lot in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. Dark should remember this. He wasn't a top player in the world back then, but he was still a competitive player. You know, he got very good in Heart of the Swarm. Zerglings are there. Finally gets the 3rd hatchery. Yeah, it's actually better if you just build a macro hatchery so you can start mining slightly slower and then just get a 4 hatchery opening. If they commit to 2 pylons like that, you can do like a 4 hatchery opening. It's kind of crazy just how much expense that is, but Dark, he's got a quick link speed. He's got a lot of Zerglings. Oh, man, this is awkward. If that Oracle gets out of here, it just feels like the Oracle's going to be out soon after link speed finishes, and that's always rough. Now, I don't think he can actually kill the hatchery, but just forcing a lot of Zerglings is a good move. And if Stats can just scout with the Adept and then recall these units or run them home, one or the other, probably recall's the better way to do it. He's seen a lot of Zerglings, so you really want to get home as Stats and make sure you are foolproof against a Ling All-In. There is still a drone inside his main base, by the way. That is adorable. Is he going to rally the Adept to kill the drone? No, not yet. Link speed should be done in a sec. He's going to go wedge himself down here. And I think he should realize that this base on the left has been taken, but maybe such a crazy thing to mine that out so early that maybe he hasn't realized just yet. Oracle's on the way. Uh-oh. That Adept, even if it's solid in the wall... Guys, I don't know if that Adept's solid. Is it? I think it should be solid. These units need to recall right now. He doesn't have recall energy. He has no recall energy. Zergling goes down in the main. Does not get a probe. Guys, where's the wall off? Where's the wall off? Stats! What are we doing, mate? No! He didn't pull a probe! He was too busy sending the Zealot and the Adept in! Stats! Just not walling off there! Oh, no! Lings are in. Lings are in right now. The Oracle's almost out of energy. It's only got a few energy points left. It's not even on A move! So it flies past the Zerglings and then runs out of energy! Stats! Absolutely engages Dark on his own terms. The Shield of Ire drops his shield, picks up a 2-handed battle axe and says defense is for pussies. It's for cucks and tryhards. Who does that? Why would I want a name like Shield of Ire as if I'm a defensive god when I can just engage in a dumb double pylon block opening and get wrecked by a random pack of Zerglings running across the map? I don't know if you guys can tell I'm a big Stats fanboy. I have not been impressed by Dark's ZVP today. It has looked so sloppy, but his ability to constantly surprise Protoss players with every move he does continues to be a thing of myth and legend. Absolutely impressive. that he was able to do this much damage. Now, to be fair, how is the worker count still so close? He killed 16 workers, and it's still even. If Stats comes back from this, I'm actually just going to be like, oh god, Dark, I don't know what's going on, man. Oracle managed to get a few more kills. I'm angry. I'm a Dark fan as well. But I like Dark winning when he plays really good, not when he plays sloppy. Oh, he gets an Oracle. That's nice. Ling's on the right side. There's something to be said for surprise tactics, but there is a balancing act between efficiency and surprise. And floating 700 plus minerals in the early game because your hatcheries are both getting pylon blocked, and then getting 16 probes of damage and still not really finding yourself ahead. This is awkward. I think those Adepts win. Okay, no, plenty more Zerglings do rally, and great fight for Dark. Very good fight. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, he's still got no battery. He's got a new Oracle. The Oracle has to help defend, I think. Oh, actually, with 2 Adepts, he'll be fine. You don't really want to headbutt into 2 Adepts and a Stalker. There's too much damage. Oracle kills a random Zergling out there. As the dust settles, Dark has a worker advantage, and there's no third base on the way. And there is a +1 melee. Dark's ahead here. He's only got 3 queens, though. His anti-air sucks, right? Like, the Oracles could actually get quite a bit more damage in this game. 2 more gases going down tells us we're probably going to be seeing some, I would imagine some Archons. Some good old Archies. Archibald the Great. Lings are going to come in. Adepts will clean those up. Desperately in need of a third base's stats. He's made epic comebacks already today. Will he be able to do it again? 5 Overlords building for Dark. A big supply block on 66. He's got a lot of Zerglings, though, and these Adepts aren't particularly well placed. I normally give Stats compliments on his Adept placement. This one, there's a lot of surface area on the front and the back, and the Oracles aren't nearby. If the Lings swarm in that side and around the back, I think he could kill these Adepts pretty efficiently. But he's waiting for melee. Melee is not done just yet. Oracle's going home's a good call. As I said, Charge and Templar Archives. 4 gas before 3rd Nexus almost always leads into Archons. He's going to get a Robo up as well. Try to get out an Observer, Warp Prism, all that stuff. It looks like Dark's going to play his Mass Zergling, probably into Mass Hydra Lurker style. Dark Zergling's poking in. Oh, he goes Roach Warren this time. The rare safety Roach Warren. Dark, usually these days in ZVP, skips Roaches entirely. Unless he's doing a Queen Walk. But he's going to go for it in this one. 54 drones to 48 probes. Stats way behind. Even though the numbers are, I would say, are surprisingly close considering how the game started. Dark takes a 4th base on the left of the map. That's crazy. Such an exposed base, but you get 2 gold minerals. Is that really worth it? This base is just better. I'm going to go out on a limb, guys. I'm going to say objectively this base is better. I don't know. Oh, good surround. Oracle lasers are nice, though. Trades like that do favor stats. Storm's coming in. Oh, he doesn't even go Archon. Straight Storm. He's banking on that Storm. Roaches are very good against Storm. They can tank it really well, man. I still can't believe that Stats would open up with a double pylon block against this. How bizarre. I feel like he was in a perfectly fine position with his previous response he did in the other game, right, guys? Took Stats 5 minutes to scout the 3rd. How long till he scouts the 4th? Fair point, Twitch chat. Fair point. The 4th base is in such a weird position, you're not going to scout it. That is true. He's going to go double gas. Wait. We're going 8 gases? That's a very early 8 gas. For a Ravager Baneling style, is Dark planning a Broodlord transition off this? He's got double Evo, which I like. I think he's planning a Broodlord Infestor transition. Which is very unlike him, but I think it makes sense because Stats is going to be so focused on just surviving on the ground that if you can just get him with a crisp Broodlord timing, that can be good. On the other hand, that Infestation bit's kind of late. I wouldn't really call this a crisp Broodlord timing. Then again, Dark does things without necessarily thinking about them, so he might just be taking the gas because he felt like it, but he is floating 700 gas right now. Normally, minerals is the priority with Ravager Ling Bane. Swarm Hosts! He's going to do the Swarm Hosts that I talked about. Okay, Swarm Hosts are pretty good on this map because you can launch into the main. That being said, they don't get that deep into the territory. And even killing 1 Nexus is not necessarily game-ending. But when you've got this supply advantage already, you're playing against a guy who doesn't have Blink, he's only got Oracles for mobility, you've already got creep outside below his main base. Swarm Hosts are an amazing way to leverage your advantage. Because you're just going to be able to throw free units into the main and the natural, and then swarm the right side with Ravager Ling Bane. This should be a winning strategy for Dark. Banelings are very supply efficient as well, so they make up for the fact that Swarm Hosts chew through your supply like crazy. He's going 19 Swarm Hosts. Whoa, 19 Swarm Hosts. That is crazy. Such a high count. +2 melee's on the way. He hasn't started +2 range just yet. Going Swarm Host, Ravages, and Banelings in high numbers does chew through a fair bit of gas, so we see what he's planning to use that gas for now. Locust in the main base. Does he target the Nexus? Nexus and Templar Archives are probably the favorite structures. Warping a few High Templar maybe before the Archives goes down. He's going to get the Archives. I don't know if he gets the Nexus. Does he? Oh, not quite. Not quite. A little sloppy there. Splitting that fire up just a little more than he needed to, but I think the next wave will easily finish it off. He could even just do a couple of Locusts potentially to finish it off. Army is going to be moving over here. +2 ranges on the way. Hive as well. Dark can transition Lurkers off this as well. He's got a good enough position. These Locusts are going to find value. +2 attack. Finishing, that's good. So now if he loses the Forge, it's not too bad. As long as he can get that +1 armor on that side. Blink's not here yet, though. You do not want to lose Blink. Locust going down. Ling's coming in on that right side. Oh, no! He just lost a High Templar in the open. That's unfortunate. Immortal Cannon and a Storm. Not going to be enough to defend that left side. Oh, God. Oh, God. He's too busy on the right side defending Zerglings, which means a lot of Banelings do hit those probes. Locust in the main base going to kill probes there as well. Stats is falling apart, man. Oh, damn. Stats loses his High Templar to these roaches. They're going to kill the Archon that they morph into and run out. Lings are down there ransacking the mineral line. And Dark has this one in the bag. Stats really slippery in his opening stage. He let the Chaos get to him. And Dark is a Chaos Master. This sort of hot mess of a game is where Dark excels. Stats should never be looking to engage in this form of Chaos against Dark. And yet he does. Now, we've got to go back to that very start when he didn't wall off his base. Because despite the decisions at the start, he should have been fine. Perfectly fine. But for some reason, he was very slow on his reaction. And what's weird is he looked at it, guys. So, his drone harassed him in the main. That distracts him. And somehow this panicked him. He goes back to mining. And he goes, oh, God. He shades back. And then he looks at his main. And then he looks at these guys. And then he looks at his natural. It's like, why did we take so long to jump here? I don't understand why he looked around at those three things. The first thing you do when you shade the Adept, guys, you shade the Adept, you grab the probe, you build the pylon or the gateway or whatever it is you want to build. And I don't know if he thinks he did that or what, but the fact that he, after that, looked at his main, looked at his units on the outside, then looked back and didn't get it down, that's really, really a huge disaster. That's such a big problem. And this just cost him so much damage. He could have been ahead off this opening, but not reinforcing his wall off against Dark. You got to be careful in these messy games. Dark's the guy who's just going to hit you with a random counterattack, and Stats left his door down. All right. What's up, everybody? Dark down here in the bottom left side of the map. Stats in the top right. This is going to be interesting to see how Stats approaches it now. It looks like he's gone for a very early block to force Dark to take a third. Interesting thing, though, is I feel like the block is not popular on this map because Zergs like taking the gold base anyway. I feel like this is an excuse for Dark to take the gold, right? No, he just goes for the normal base. Okay, interesting. I think Dark maybe hasn't had as much success with the gold base anymore. He's moved away from that. Stats there, just kind of hanging out, blocking this base. Of course, Dark, no scout needed. His Overlord will eventually give him info on what's going on the other side of the map. Now rallying onto the gas. The question is, does he pull a worker off minerals onto gas? That's normally what you do if you're going to play a Stargate style. We'll see if that's what he's got in mind for us. Looks like it might be a Twilight opening for Stats. Not something I expected from him. Queen Walk could be something that Dark mixes in. He hasn't shown that yet today against Stats. And Dark does a savage, often about 38 drones. He tries to do the Queen Walk off with 4 queens. About 8 roaches and the rest just massling behind it. The thing is, he loses so many drones usually to the Oracle Harass as he's moving out that he ends up on about 31, 32. But it doesn't matter because he hits so hard so fast and it's just difficult to deal with. With the third base, I always think if you get forced to take a third, Queen Walk becomes more attractive because your creep starts a bit further onto the map. That's the reason why I'm thinking about Queen Walk. I know that historically Dark has a pretty high percentage of if he gets blocked, going for that. It is going to be a Stargate opening as well, and it's Stargate openings that you want to do this against. He sees no Warp Gate spinning. Stargate goes down in the main base, and that's going to be a very standard play for Stats. Question is, does he chrono his probes now, or does he chrono his second Adept? Just kind of watching the Nexus in the top right of our screen, the Gateway in the bottom left, and no chronos going down. There we go. He's double Adept chrono. Okay, so it's going to be double Adept pressure. Nice way to put on the hurt. Dark's special move, though, is waiting for the second Adept to leave, and then these two Lings come in, and that forces you to multitask. Stats is hunting so bloody hard for these Lings because he doesn't want to have to deal with this. He's like, where are you? I know you do this every game. Dark's just like, lol, I'm just going to hide all the way over here and only now click it in. And look at that. Look at that! I've seen this exact same thing done by him so many times. He knows the timing of the Adept so well. The Adept cancels its shade. But look, the Lings are going to get in. So he's done a double Adept pressure, but he hasn't actually moved across the map. Dark is building a lot of Zerglings to defend. 10 Zerglings should be more than enough. Don't lose probe stats. Should be fine. Precision on that micro that Stats is known for should be enough here. Gets rid of one Zergling. But the Adept pressure has been slowed down, and Dark mostly unmolested on his side of the map. His natural coming up. Overlord pops at the perfect time. This is where you'd like to see Dark start building 2 or 3 Overlords at a time in the near future, now that he's got 5 Queens, 35 or so drones up. Looking for a third base is Stats. First Oracle's out. Just chilling defensively is a very good way to do things. Oh, he turned that on way too early. You gotta wait for the Lings to actually fight the Adepts, like properly engage in melee before you turn that on. Good positioning though. Lovely positioning with the pylon creating a choke point. Now we've got 2 Spores building for Dark to defend the counterattack. He's got 10 Lings on the map. He's trying to drone and build Queens at the same time. He's still not building more Overlords. And he's just going to rush a lair. He's just going to do the Nidus again. I mean, it worked twice. Honestly, he was, in my opinion, ahead both games 1 and game 2 of their first series. He's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He basically is deciding that he just thinks Stats is not good against the Chadray Annihilator. The bloody Queenling Nidus. It's such a silly build, in my opinion, until you look at the results. It's one of those builds that on paper should not work very often, but boy, does Dark make it look like a macro game and make it work so consistently. Like I said, it's been in his build rotation for 4 years now. It never fully leaves his build rotation. If you're a defensive Oracle guy who's good in long games, like Stats is, he will bring this bad boy out at least once in a series. Today, this is our fourth, fifth game we've played. And it is, I think it's 4th, right? Because Stats actually 2-0'd him in the first series. But it is the 3rd out of 4th time he's going to be doing that same build order. Oracle's coming forward. Lings are being built already for the Nidus. And that's convenient because they can also defend these Adepts. So that's kind of nice. And look, comes in with the Oracles, sees lots of drones and Queens. A few Lings coming out. Is that a tell? It's very hard to figure out what's happening. Stats, he's gone Forge Twilight before 3rd and 4th gate. Generally speaking, if I was playing against Dark in this scenario and I wanted to play a standard Proto style, I would have gone 4 gate before Twilight Forge and been warping in Stalkers a lot more often. And if he does play a macro game, I'd try to do a Stalker Oracle pressure to cancel his 4th base while adding the delayed blink and +1. I'd do that because that's safe versus Queen Walk and it's safer versus Nidus Queen. Stats has not made those safety precautions. He's playing the standard blink +1, 3rd and 4th gate. It's not like it's super fast Forge and Twilight, but it is still, that is the priority. Here come the Lings. They're just out of vision. They're just out of vision. He pulls back just in time to miss the Nidus. Oh no, Stats has no idea. He's making gases right now. He should be making gateways. He has no idea. No batteries, nothing. Oh gee whiz. He just warped in Stalkers at the 3rd. One of them gets surrounded. The battery's not even up yet. The Nidus going up. He's got to pull units. Wall off. You got to wall off right now. Wall off. If he doesn't wall off, the Lings are in. The Lings are in. Oh no, the Adepts have shaded back there. The probe's going down. The Oracles will turn their lasers on. The Nidus, he's got to focus the Nidus, otherwise the Queens will be on the front line in a moment. Oh, gee. The Lings are into the natural, now into the main base. Adepts are warping in there as well. That's too many Lings. He's let them in. The floodgates are open. Dark jamming it in with reckless abandon. Stats, the shield of Aya, the man that I thought should shut down Dark in these games. Not able to hang on. And Dark is just going to crush into that main. 26 workers are down. Mass Ling behind it. Stats will survive. Will he, though? The 3rd base battery goes down. If he still had a few units there, maybe. The Stalker count's good. He doesn't have +1, and those Stalkers out of range of that battery healing as he comes forward. Spines! He builds spines at his base! Dark is literally giving him a stiff tentacle right now. He's giving him a bit of a slip, slap, slop. Oh my god, I didn't realize we were going to be watching Death by Hentai today, but apparently that's what Dark has on the menu for us. 3 tentacles on the front line. I don't even know if they did anything, honestly. They're being annoying. Now the Lings could surround. No way. If he gets all these Stalkers, that's massive. Blink Micro is going to be big. He's got to pull those Stalkers back. Any Stalker he saves is massive. Stats is on 2 base against 3. Double Evo Infestation Pit's on the way. Dark moving his Spine Crawlers in forwards. Absolutely savage. He gets another Adept. He gets another Stalker or so. Good blink back there. Finally cleaning it up. But dude, Stats letting the units in. Just slow on his wall-offs 2 games in a row. If he bought more time on that wall-off, this is a totally different game. But losing all those probes is huge, because then his Adept Stalker could have defended there. He could have warped in units here off his 4 gates. Now he finds himself down at 41 workers against 48, and it's double upgrade mass Zergling. We're going to see a Hive into Ultras probably at some point. Yeah, cancels Burrow, makes the Hive. And he tries to use a Revelation to clear the creep. That means he doesn't have lasers to defend his 3rd. And the Lings go, got your Nexus. For those who don't know, much like adults like to make fun of children by pretending they took their nose, Zergs like to steal the Nexus of a Protoss and laugh in their face. Dark, dude, he's just going to play Mass Ling, which wrecks Stalker. Yeah, I mean, Queen Ling will beat Stalker, Oracle. And then if he gets to Ultras, that's going to be an even bigger problem for Stats. Queen's coming forward, Lings from behind. Blink at your own peril, mate. Where are you going to blink to? Into a surround of the Linglongs. Queens come forward, start hitting the Oracles. 1 Oracle will go down. Lots of Stalkers starting to fall. The Lings getting great value. Remember, every Stalker is worth 7 Zerglings. So you can trade. It looks like droves of Lings are dying for this, but every Stalker that dies is a massive value. The Lings are expendable, the Stalkers are not. It's a 2-base 44 Pro Protoss who is just getting overrun. And Dark, this attack is so surprising. And he manages to once again show he's got what it takes. Dark gets through the group after a rough start, fights his way back, and kind of dominates against Rogan Stats. Hats off to Dark, he joins Cure in the round of 8. GG, well played.